Hello, everyone. I'm Yakuman Nidashanan, finally a medical student here. So today, so many medical students, so many doctors are here for a purpose, I believe. In this dire time, all of us are contemplating or already working towards settling abroad as doctors, I believe. So personally, I have been stuck in Sri Lanka for a longer period without being able to go back to China and to continue my studies. So this has been the case with all the Chinese medical undergraduate students currently, I believe. And so the doctors, I believe too, are looking to migrate to US, UK, or Australia due to COVID pandemic, or could be due to several reasons. So as great Albert Einstein once said, in the midst of difficulties, there lies opportunities. So this could be actually a blessing in disguise for us. This could be an ideal time for us to look seriously into clearing, let's say, an AMC or USMLE or a PLAB. So we all are in a greater need, but the problem with us is we lack guidance. We don't know how to go about things. So we don't know how to go about things. The several doctors will be joining us today from US, UK, and Australia to guide us through this procedure. And I would like to personally thank all of them for joining here with us. And now Dr. Rajivan sir will take over. Thank you.
Hello, good evening. Good evening, all of you. Thank you for joining this session. So, first of all, I need to thank the resource person and teachers, my colleagues who are joining from different parts of the world, especially Australia, UK, and of course, USA. So, of course, this is a very, very critical time for most of the medical students and doctors, and we are struggling due to several reasons, and we are looking for some other options. So, of course, I'm involving with some kind of teaching activities for Sri Lankan license exam. So, a lot of students were requesting me to guide them to for the foreign medical licensing exams. So, there are plenty of opportunities, as we all know, like you can move to Australia, you can move to UK, you can move to USA. There are plenty of opportunities, but the main issues is we don't know how to approach, what are the pathways, so how to prepare for the exams. So no one is guiding us. So of course we are following some online courses or online platform, but we don't know the real paths. So I thought to gather all these friends who already established in foreign and they know the pathway, so we can help them. So there are a lot of my juniors are joining here, a lot of students are joining here, a lot of seniors are here. So it is a pleasure for me to help you all. So not only giving an idea, so our aim of this team, so it's going to be a teamwork. So what are we going to do first? We'll guide you about the pathway, different pathway, how to join to the medical licensing exam, then how to prepare for the exam. Not only that, we are going to help you to find the placements. So with the help of established doctors and finding the references and referees, and for your kids' establishments and your property, housing, everything. So we'll try to help you. So once you get a chance, once you start working foreign or maybe in abroad, whatever the country, so please join with us to help your juniors, your colleagues. So it is going to continue as a teamwork. So hopefully we will achieve. So to achieve this target, not only teaching, so we need some additional help. So the thing is, there are so many online platforms, they are teaching through the Zoom or maybe YouTube. The problem is now, especially in Sri Lanka, we don't have electricity all the time, so we can't access the class anytime. So sometimes we might have problem to join to the classes. So we have contacted to the More Education. They are happy to help us. So what we are going to do is after finishing these classes, we will upload all these videos in More Education. Anytime you can get access, and you can do practice exam, you can access question pools. There will be a series of free paper classes and free theory classes, free guidance classes, and you all can contact the teachers through the platform, or maybe through the WhatsApp group or Facebook group. So we will continue to put questions and discussions and your placement, everything. And also we are going to take over looking after your English exam as well. So yesterday we were having a meeting, like because students, when they are preparing for the license exam, so the another problem is or maybe doctors even, so another problem is the English exams, either IELTS or OET. So we'll contact some teachers and we'll arrange the IELTS and OET guidance as well. To guide us about US exams. So today, Dr. Aravindan, who is in USA, he will join with us. Thank you, Aravindan, and welcoming you for this session. And Miss Shavi, who is in Australia, she's going to tell us about the Australian exam and the placement, finding the job opportunities and all. And Dr. Balraj Sivakant, he will join by 1:30. He is in hospital now. He will join by 1:30 to tell us about the UK system. So if you have any questions during the discussion, you can ask the questions. So our resource person will help you. So I'm welcoming all the students and doctors, my colleagues, seniors, and my resource person. So first, I'm inviting Dr. Aravindan. So he will tell us about the US system. Welcome, Aravindan.
Thank you, Anna. And thank you for putting us together this, I believe, a very good program for all of our colleagues and students and seniors. So before starting, and I would like to thank More Education and Rajiv and Anna for working all these things throughout and discussing and coordinating with all these people and put these things together. So I'll be sort of discussing more today with regarding USMLE, and to some aspects I'll be discussing about PLAB 2, but my colleagues from UK and Australia will be concentrating more on PLAB and AMC. So we'll jump onto the presentation. So I'll be doing a quick presentation, and I'll be touching the major important points of the pathway of to getting a full license in USA. The thing is, the USA pathway is not like the UK pathway or the Australian pathway, because this is a bit complicated and a bit time consuming, and as well as it's a bit costlier than the other two pathways. So this is the licensing board. The United States Medical Licensing Examination is one of the important exams. Either whether you are a student, whether you are a fully registered practitioner, whether you are a consultant, irrespective of that, you have to go through this exam process, and you have to go through this to get the full license in US. And this is something that is important to think about before going further. This is the data of 2022, where all these people who go through this process and apply for a job, and almost 7,800 people from non-American areas. This non-US IMGs means that people who got the medical degrees from not from US or Canada. Apart from that, they are not a US citizen. So it's completely like us, for people like Sri Lankans, where we got our degree from Sri Lanka and then we try to migrate to their country. We comes under category called non-US IMG. And last year, for this year residency, we had to apply last year. So last year, almost about 7,800 people applied for this, and almost about 60,000 people got the job. That means around 4,600 people got this job. So it means it's not a bad stats, I would say. More than 50% of the people are getting the job, but the thing is there are 40% who are not. So we need to think on just that term, that what makes us a good applicant to getting this job. So that's our main priority, to sort of follow our USMLE journey, I would call. So I would like to just give you an outline how this pathway goes. So we are here. So just the pointer here. Yeah. So we are here in the initial stage. We are the IMG. So we need to do some steps in between to get here, the residency. That's the starting point of US clinical career. So when you start your residency, the residency period will vary. So the thing is, in Sri Lanka, we have internship, and then we will go for a non-training job. That means the SHO job or RHO job. Then we will take postgraduate exam and we'll go for the training job like registrar and consultant. So, but in here, most of the people will go to the residency, will go to the training job. So there is no in-between barrier exams until you become a consultant. So this is a one continuum pathway where once you enter into residency, eventually you will go into the fellowship, and then eventually you will become a consultant. And I would say, compared to all other countries, the time taken to get into residency and to become consultant is quite less. So if you take medical pathway, if you take the internal medicine, you have to do 3 years of residency. But the thing is, the people may worry that the residency is also like internship, and RVO have to do 3 years of internship in here. But the residency is completely different from internship, and it has several steps and several small allocated programs in between, and you have enough time to take rest. It's not the internship like in Sri Lanka. So this is different. So you have to, if you take internal medicine, then you have to do 3 years of residency. Followed by that, you have to apply for fellowships. So fellowship, in a sense, you can do fellowship in cardiology, you can do fellowship in pulmonology, you can do fellowship in endocrinology. So after finishing your residency in internal medicine, you can go for fellowships. And if you take diabetes, you have to do a fellowship for a year. Then after you finish your fellowship, you will become an attendee. That means a consultant. So the pathway is pretty straightforward, but the thing is, the first leap from IMG to residency is the one which is the most difficult thing out of all these steps. So this is just to give you an overall idea. So this is the US stats, but this here gives us an idea that the different type of specialties available in US. In Sri Lanka, if you want to do gastroenterology surgery, or if you want to do neurosurgery, you have to go to the general surgery pathway, and then you can branch it from there. But in here, it's totally different. If you want to do neurosurgery, you have to start with the neurosurgery residence straight away. If you want to start neurology, you have to start with neurology residency straight away. But for few fields like endocrinology, rheumatology, and cardiology, all those things, you can start with internal medicine and then go on to those subspecialties in fellowship. And apart from that thing, I would call the surgical specialties are relatively hard to get into compared to the medical specialties. You can see the acceptance rates of these different programs, and internal medicine is almost 97.1% of acceptance rates, where if you take plastic surgery and neurosurgery, almost 78% is the acceptance rate. So since we are international medical graduates and we are from Sri Lanka and the subcontinent countries, it's highly competitive and highly difficult to get into the surgical programs and medical programs. So if we are targeting for a surgical program, then we need to work hard and we need to plan things better rather than comparing the medical program. So beforehand, we have to think about those things as well. So it's not the whole subspecialties are same. It's different, and the weights are same, and the availability is different. And the issue is we need to plan sort of beforehand to go into the surgical residency as an internal medicine residency. And so here comes the part where the steps between international medical graduates like us in our state to the residency. So this is the important thing I'm going to sort of consider today, because once you get into residency, then you know the path, right? So then you will eventually lead into become a fellow and then eventually become an attending. So it won't be a problem. So I'll be discussing more sort of how to take the first leap from IMG to residency. So don't get frightened by seeing all these steps. These are fairly large steps and fairly time consuming, fairly costly. But no, there are a lot of pros and cons in getting residency and becoming an attending in US. So at the end, we will sort of discuss those pros and cons as well. So everything starts with a verification and initiation of ECFMT. Then we'll take step 1, step 2 exam and OET. So we'll be discussing these things on a step-by-step manner. So the first thing is you need to start with the verification and initiation of ECFMT certification. So there's a website called ECFMT's interactive web application. You can search it in the internet, and in there you have to take a USMLE ID first. So you have to apply, you have to register with your name and your passport and your basic credentials, and they will give you an ID and the password. Once you get an ID and the password, you have to get into the system, and then you will be sort of reconfirmed with the credential verification process. So you will be called through an interview, and the interview will come and ask you your name and show your passport. You have to show your passport and everything, and they will confirm you whether the registered person is you. After that, they will send a form to your medical school. Either it can be in Sri Lanka or it can be in abroad, and there are a lot of medical schools. They are involved, involved in the online transaction between ECFMT. ECFMT is a body where in United States, that is the one which regulate all these international medical graduates to United States. So these medical schools can sort of interact with ECFMG, and ECFMG will send this form through online, so we don't have to worry about the postage. But there are a few medical schools, I'm not sure in most of the medical schools in Sri Lanka enrolled in this online program, but I'm not sure about the foreign medical schools, where some of the schools are not really involved in these online transactions, and they have to send these whole things through post. Otherwise, this verification process will if it is through online, it can just finish by a very short period time, like 5 to 10 days. And once you confirm your credential, you can take the step 1. And all this process, from starting your USMLE ID to register for your step 1 exam, this will take about 6 to 8 weeks. So this will take about 2 months. And this costs you about $160 US. So if you want to sort of take exam and plan things ahead, you have to do it significantly earlier time, because if you sort of decide that only, you can plan everything in advance, so you can reach your goal on time. Otherwise, these time delays, like before you taking the step 1 exam, there will be a time delay. Before you taking your step 2 exam, there will be a time delay, and all these verification process will have a separate time delay associated with the administrative process. So we have to take all these things beforehand before going and sort of taking the exam. And once you've done this verification, you can go ahead and take the step 1. So the step 1 exam is pretty, I would call a lengthy exam. This exam roughly about 8 hours with 1 hour break, and you can take breaks in between, like after this exam. All these United States exams are applied in blocks. That means 280 questions, which spans for about 7 hours with a 1 hour break, so total of 8 hours. And all the exams are in sets, like first 40 questions. Once you finish your first 40 questions, there will be a in between screen will ask you to go for the second 40 questions, third 40 questions. Likewise, you will do 740 blocks. So the total of 280 questions. In between blocks, you can take a break. So the total break time would be 1 hour. So you don't have to take a 1 hour break straight in the middle, and then you can go for a rest. So it's like after finishing your first 2 blocks, you can go for a break, and then you can come back and do that. So it's almost 280. It's 280 questions, and recently, initially these USMLE steps scores are reported in 3 digits. Like if you get a fairly good number of correct questions, you will get a score about 250, 200. This is marked for 300, and you'll get about 250, 260, something like that. So before this February, if you ask people for their scores, they will give you a score like in 3 digits. But nowadays, since the ECFMG changed, this United States Medical Licensing Exam Board have changed to pass or fail manner. So if you take a certain amount of marks, that is 166 for step 1, you will become you will pass the exam. So it's not like the previous days that this you have to work hard to get the good score. So in step 1 now it is pass or fail, and you have to take it in a prometric center. This is the designated center, and unfortunately it is not available in Sri Lanka. So either you have to take it in India, or you have to take it in Singapore, Malaysia, or Dubai, or any other countries around Sri Lanka, but it's not available in Sri Lanka. So you can't take this exam in Sri Lanka. That's another drawback, I would call. And then the thing is, the prep time is variable. So preparation time depends on people. So if you have a very good background knowledge in medicine, or if you have a very good background knowledge in basic sciences, or if you are a second or third year medical student, then it's easier for you to prepare step 1 in a very short time compared to other people. And if you are long gone from the basic sciences, then you have to take, you need to take and you need to study clearly for a long time. So the prep time is variable, and you can take it even in 1 month, or you can, if you need, you have to go for about 12 to 15 months to take this exam. And there are a lot of resources. If you type in the internet for USMLE resources, there are a huge lot of resources. But personally, I would say the first aid book and the UWorld and are the 2 important resources that need to be accounted. And if you study these 2 important resources, it will be more than enough to pass the exam safely. And I would say we are not sort of paid advertisers of these resources, but just wanted to mention these resources because these are 2 important resources that you need to take account when you prepare for your exam. And the cost is around $985 if you take this exam in USA. And if you are taking outside of USA and Canada, it will cost you about $1,170. This is a significant amount, and the issue is you can take this exam up to 4 attempts. And initially, previously it was up to 6 to 7 attempts. Now they are reduced to 4 attempts. And the second thing we have to worry about is if you fail this exam, the thing is, when you go for an interview or when you go for a job, if you pass it in the second attempt, that will carry as a negative thing in your CV or negative thing in your job application. So we need to take those things into account, and we need to sort of work. And the expiration time is, once you take your step 1, it will be valid for next 7 years. So you have to finish all other steps within 7 years to get into the job. So the total time you can spend from step 1 until you get into residency is 7 years. So that is also an important point to mark. So when you finish your step 1, you can go for step 2. And I will just mention the important aspects of this step 1 here. And as you can see in step 1, it is mostly most of the questions are from pathology and physiology. So this is the different categories where the exam question comes. So out of 280 questions, you will get about 60 to 70% of the question from pathology and physiology, and then from the rest of the basic sciences. And you can have a lot of sample questions online, and the USMLE website, it provides the sample question itself as well. So you can have a look at that as well. So the thing is, they are concentrating more on the basic sciences in step 1. And I would say when I say basic sciences, they are going in a great length of and in depth of these basic sciences. If you see some questions, those are sort of very depth and very, I would call, very difficult to approach questions. But once you train your mind to see those questions, then it's a bit easy, I would say. And then once you finish your step 1, you can go for step 2. And you don't have to take the step 1 and step 2 in this order. You don't have to go for step 1 first, and you don't have to go for step 2 second. So either you can take step 2 first and step 2 second. So it doesn't matter. Once you finish your initial verification process, there is there are options that you can either apply step 1 or step 2. Either you can apply both simultaneously, and once you finish step 1, you can go for step 2. So it doesn't matter whether you take step 2 or step 1 in any order. And step 2 consists of 316 questions, and it's a 9-hour exam. So step 1 and step 2 are a bit of an exhausting experience, because you need to go to the exam center in the morning, like 8 a.m., and the exam will go on until 3:34. And in between, you can get about 1 hour break, which is spread across the total area. And then the thing is, this is also taken at a Prometric center, and that Prometric center is not available in Sri Lanka. Again, we have to go outside of the country to take this exam. And this is, again, the prep time is variable for internal medicine or a medicine registrar or a medicine training.
I'm sorry to interrupt, Ravindan. I think now there is a Prometric center is available in Sri Lanka. One of the participants put a message in our chat. I think it's now it's available in Sri Lanka. So they can
really?
they can do the part 1 in Sri Lanka as well. So if you guide them, so they can prepare and they can do the exam in Sri Lanka while they are in Sri Lanka. Yeah.
Oh, great. Thank you, Anna. The thing is, that's a very good thing to know, because when I was searching, when I was there about a year back, and there are a few people in Sri Lanka at the moment who is taking the exam, they didn't know about this fact. So
I think he has mentioned it's in the Navala.
Then that's a good news. That's a good news.
Yeah.
That's a good news. Yes.
Yeah, he has mentioned the name and the address in the chat, so everybody can see there.
So again, and that's a good thing. Thank you for this message, Anna, and thank you for the person to put and let us know that there's a Prometric center. Then there is a great amount of money you can save out from it, because if you want to take a step 1 and step 2 in 2 different countries, or if you want to go to outside of Sri Lanka, then it's very costly than before. And I know that due to the economic crisis, you have to spend a lot to take that exam if you are going to take it in outside. So that's a very good news and that's a very good thing that help you to take this exam in Sri Lanka. So this, again, the prep time is variable, and this goes between 3 to 12 months. If you are training in internal medicine, or if you are working in internal medicine, so most of the questions from in step 2 are more related to sort of internal medicine, and they do consider pediatrics, obs and gynae, and surgery, and psychiatry, and the biostats. But 70% of the questions are from internal medicine. And again, the resources, I would say UWorld. UWorld is one of the well-known resource for this step 1, step 2, and step 3 exam. And the other issue is, the thing is, UWorld is not free, and it will cost you about $450 to $500 for a 6-month subscription. Again, we are not representing UWorld, or we are not just promoting, but I would like to mention that UWorld is one of the important resources in step 2 too. And this exam costs you about $1,190 if you are taking outside of the United States, and if you are taking it within United States, it will cost you about $985. So once you finish your step 2 and step 1, you can go ahead for this is the just to mention, like 50 to 60% of the questions are from medicine, and this is the step 2 question distribution. And then you get about 25 to 30 from surgery, then pediatrics from 20 to 25, obs and gynae and psychiatry. The rest of the questions are from obs and gynae and psychiatry. And these questions will be like, you will be asked again for diagnosis, you will be asked for a next step of management, you will be asked for a preventive measures, you will be asked from biostats, and you will be asked to sort of interpret the research paper. All these things will be there in the question. Yes. Yeah, excuse me. Give me a minute. Yeah. Sorry, excuse me. Give me a minute. There are some technical issues. I'm just facing. Just give me a minute. I will sort of work on that. Yeah, hope you all can hear me well, right? Yeah, okay. Yes. So what I was trying to say is, so you will be asked in different, you will be tested in different genres of this exam. So the thing is, you need to study more, concentrate more on the medicine and surgery, and you have to have a clear ideas of the basics of other rest of the subjects to pass this exam. And once you finish the step 2, you have to take the OET medicine. Previously, before COVID, they sort of had an exam called step 2 clinical skills, step 2 CS. That you can take it only in United States, but fortunately, this is a good thing for international medical graduates because this OET we can take it anywhere from the world, and it's available in Sri Lanka too. And step 2 CS is relatively harder than OET 2. So if you take OET medicine, instead of step 2 CS, they have sort of created this OET medicine and some pathways. I will mention it later. So OET medicine, probably you may all know what the OET medicine consists of. So it has 4 domains, and the United States requirement is after this April, you need to have 300 in writing and 350 in rest of the domains to complete the requirement for the clinical skill exam. So for an OET medicine, you have to take OET medicine, and this is the baseline requirement. And OET medicine will cost you around $455. So once you finish OET medicine, so you have finished all these four first steps. You have verified, then you have finished the step 1, you have finished the step 2 CK, and you have finished the OET medicine. Once you finish all those things, then you have to go and complete your ECMG certification before going to the rest of the steps. So the completion of this ECMG certification is important for you to apply for the jobs. So to apply for jobs, you need to have ECM certification. To get ECM certification, you have to finish the verification, step 1, step 2, and OET. So these are the basic steps you have to finish before applying for a job. And what do you mean by this pathway verification ECMG certification is this ECMG, since they have withheld or stopped this step 2 CK, they have put 6 pathways for the international medical graduates to get into the system. So pathway 1 is for a fully practiced medication, fully registered practitioner. Like if you finish your internship in Sri Lanka and if you got a SLMC full registration, then the pathway 1 is for you. And if you are a graduate medical, if you are just graduated from medical school, and if you didn't finish internship, that means sometimes you may be a foreign graduate, you took your exam and you didn't complete your ERPM or you didn't start your internship in Sri Lanka, then the pathway 6 must be appropriate for you. Rest of the pathways are not appropriate for countries like Sri Lanka or India, because there are a few requirements that we can't fulfill on the rest of the pathways. So pathway 1 and pathway 6 are the important pathways for us to pursue a medical career in US. So if you are a practitioner, pathway 1 is for you, and if you are not, then you have to go through the pathway 6. And to get a complete ECMG certification, you need to complete step 1, as I said earlier, step 1, step 2, OET. And then if you are pursuing pathway 1, if you are a fully registered medical practitioner, then you have to get a certificate of good standing, which is available in Sri Lanka Medical Council, and you can get it. You have to pay 800 if you are taking sort of in a routine basis, and you have to pay about 4,800 for an urgent basis, and you can get it within 3 days. So it won't be a problem, and you can get it from SLMC. So these are the 4 important steps to finish, cover before getting into ECMG certification. And this process will cost you about 1 to 2 months. And for the pathway verification ECMG certification, you need to pay about $920. So all the steps are costly, and all the steps are cost you roughly about $1,000 on each steps. So once you finish your ECMG certification by doing all these things, you can sort of go further And if you want, you can take step 3. But the thing is, it's highly advisable and highly recommended to take step 3 to boost your interview chances and boost your job chances. Because for the standard requirements, they are actually, we are not required to take step 3, and we can apply for jobs and we can get into residency without taking step 3. But the thing is, if you have a step 3, then you will be sort of put in the top of the list against your competitors, and there's a higher chance that you will get an interview, you will get visa opportunities, and you will get the job compared to your peers who are applying without step 3. So step 3 is definitely an advantage, but not a must. And to take step 3, you need to have ECMG certification. That's why I was mentioning all those steps, because if you finish all those steps only, you can go for ECMG certification. And this step 3 is a 2-day exam, and first day it's a 7-hour exam, and the second day it's almost roughly 6 to 7 hours, and you have to take all these exams within 2 weeks period. So if you take on a day first exam on the day 1 exam on day 1, then you have to take the day 2 exam within 14 days of the day 1. And the first day is completely MCQs. You have 6 blocks, and each block consists of 40 questions. So you will get about 240 questions, which is completely on clinical grounds. You won't be asked about basic science. It will be all the questions are from clinical background. Then you go to the step 2, the day 2 exam, where you have 36 blocks of MCQ questions, and then you have 13 computer-based cases. That means you will be given a short history, and then the first question would be what is the diagnosis, then what the next step investigation you will order. So you select the investigation, they will give you an investigation report, then you go from there. So it's like an interactive case simulation. So you have to finish the day 1 and day 2, finishing all these exams. Once you finish your day exams, you will get a 3-digit score. For the step 2 and step 3, you will get a 3-digit score. So step 1 is the one which is only pass or fail, and step 2 and step 3 are for 3-digit score. And out of all these scores, because previously the step 1 score is one of the very important thing that people consider when you're applying for a job. They will consider your step 1 and step 2 score combined to select you. But nowadays, since the step 1 becomes pass or fail, it's solely depend on the step 2. So you need to work hard and get a very good score on step 2 to boost your application chances. And step 3, the scores are not a big thing, because these exams can be taken after starting a residency. So they are not much worried about this step 3 score. So if you pass the step 3 exam, then that's all right. But the thing is, if you target for a very good application, then you need to put all the effort to get a very good score in step 2. That's the one important thing I would like to emphasize here. And then once you, and unfortunately, this step 3 is only available in USA. So if you are pursuing the career, you need to come to USA to finish the step 3. And the preparation time is variable. If you are in a medical field, you can straight away prepare it within 2 weeks and you can take the exam. If you are not, then you may have to take it, on an extensive time point. And again, the resources are UWorld, and this NBM is, I was mentioning this NBM is with previous exams too. These NBMs are like exams. Those are similar to actual exam produced by this National Board of Medical Examination. That is the one which gives you which sets your USMLE paper too. So this is from the examiner, and it's available in online and each will cost about $60. And there are some offline platforms where you can have you can get a free PDF too. But I would like to mention that it's illegal to get a free PDF. But anyway, there are a lot of people who are using those free PDFs too. So these are the resources, and it will cost you about $915 again. So once you finish your step 3, then you will move on, and so you have finished all these steps. You have done OET medicine, you finished the pathway approval and ECF certification, you finished the step 3. And then I'm going to talk a few things about some additional factors which are important for the application process. Apart from exams, if you are going to work in United States, and if you are applying for a job, there is a column for this job application that will ask you for letter of recommendation. So at least you need to have to boost or support or put up a very strong application. So, and what the US programs prefer is they prefer the letters from US and but there are people who must and into residency and
Aravindan, we couldn't hear you. Yeah, give me 1 sec, we'll check.
Hello, everyone. I think, hope you can hear me well now. I'm extremely sorry about the technical issues which we have encountered now. So, yeah, I was talking about the LORs and the US clinical experience. So if you have a better, I would call, if you get a letter of recommendation from US clinicians, the people who are registered and practicing here, that would be well and good. But you can still get your letters from the clinicians, from your working unit, from your consultants, from your hospital directors, that do have value, but not as up to the mark as a US clinicians LORs. And there are people who got the job without LORs too. So this is something we need weigh the pros and cons, because to get an LOR in United States, either you should know the clinician personally, or you need to come to United States and you need to do some rotation with them before getting a letter of recommendation. And nowadays, after COVID, there are a lot of companies and a lot of hospitals. They sort of give this tele-rotation, what they call the tele-rotation, that you can do the rotation online by staying there. You can do it from Sri Lanka, and they will give you a restricted time. Then you can join with them, and they will discuss you with some clinical scenarios and things. And at the end, they will give you LORs. So this is one of the very easy way to get LORs. And after COVID, if you want to mention some few advantages of COVID, I would say this is one of the advantage after COVID, that you can get these tele-rotations and you can get this LOR from Sri Lanka too. And this clinical experience, you can get it. There are a lot of hospitals give it for free, and there are a lot of hospitals they give it for paid amount of money, and which will cost you about 2,000 to 3,000 US dollars. It depends on the hospital. It depends on the place where you are seeking the clinical experience. So this is basic. This is a very variable thing, and it should be tailored on an individual basis. If you have relatives on some states, and you can go there and you can do it, or if you can apply through online and you can do it from Sri Lanka through tele-rotation, and there won't be much of a difference between tele-rotation and in person, because if you have a very good score and if you have a very good background sort of application profile, then the other things would be sort of an additional supportive things. And I know people with a very good score, like their scores are in 260s. They didn't have any US clinical experience. They didn't have any LORs, and they still matched and they got a job, and they are successful now. So this is highly variable. And the thing is, apart from these two things, there is another thing called research experience. And in US, the clinician and the medical boards are so much interested in the research experience. So if you are able to publish few papers, or if you are able to publish few case reports, either in local journals or international journals, that will definitely be a plus for your application. Because if you have a research experience, or if you mention like you have a research experience in your interviews or in your application, that will give you some additional points too. So that is one additional thing I would like to mention here. So apart from the scores, apart from the exams, we need to worry about the LORs and the US clinical experience and the research experience. So those are the three additional things you need to worry about. So once you get all these things, so from here to here, if you finish all these things, then you are ready to go for an application process. So you can go ahead and you can apply for all these things. So the application process is a separate thing, and there's a website called ERAS. ERAS is the one which is responsible. Rest of the things are from ECFMG websites, and this is from ERAS website. This ERAS is the one is responsible for you to sort of get into the application process, and you have to literally build a CV in the online, and you will enter all your educational achievements, your research achievement, and all these things on the ERAS website. And then someone put in the chart, it's like can't see the screen, probably because I'm sharing the screen. Okay, good. Oh yeah, all right, yeah, got it. So the thing is, you need to create a virtual CV in your ERAS application, and then you need to search for the programs. Like in Sri Lanka, we just put the ranking order and things like that to get into the internship or get into the register station and things like that. So it's the same thing that goes in here, but in here, you need to select programs. If you are interested in doing internal medicine for your residency, you need to select international medical graduates friendly internal medicine programs, and then you need to apply all those programs for that. So that is one important thing in your application. So I would like to mention the application process here. So this is a tentative timeline of this application process for this much circle. That means you start your application in 2022 and your residency starts in 2023 June or July. It roughly around between those periods. So every time when you are trying for a residency program, you need to apply a year ahead. So for 2023, you need to apply for 2022, and this year match cycle starts in June. So once you start this session, you will have a separate account. It's like LinkedIn account for you, and you need to enter all your important details in there, in your research experience, your ethical, your volunteership experience, all those things, and you can mention. It's like a story of yourself, and everything once you mention, you have to select all the programs, and then you have to submit this application in September. So I would strongly recommend you finish all those exam steps, and if you can do the step 3 and LORs and your US clinical experience before the submission of this application. Once you submit, all this application will go to the your selected program directors. That means if you are selecting a program in New York, a hospital in New York, then a hospital in California, a hospital in Louisiana, so your application will go to that hospital, and then the program directors will go through the application. They will rank the application and they will call you for interview. So that's how it works. So so this process, the application process is starts in May and ends in September, right? So we need to take it. This is for the exam 2022, but this is a similar timeline in 2021, and it will be the similar timeline in 2023 too. And you can see this timeline in this ERAS website, which is called. If you type ERAS and you search for timeline, you will get this timeline in ERAS website. And usually you get interviews. Once you submit your application, you will get interviews in September. And from September till January, February, the interviews will go on. And once you finish your interviews, you will be asked to rank. That means after you get, if you are applying for 100 programs, you will get about roughly 10 to 15 interviews. And once you finish your interviews, you need to rank your preference program. That means you need to, if you like a program which is in New York, then you will rank it as 1. And if you like a program in, if you don't like, so once you get your interview, you will rank the programs according to your preference order. And the same thing, your program directors in those hospitals will rank the program in their order. So they will rank the candidates on their preference. And this program application, usually they are advising all these international medical graduates to apply for 100 international 100 programs, because then only you will have a fairly good chance to get into one program. Get at least about 10 interviews, and you will get a good chance of matching into a residency program. And this will cost you about $2,300 to apply for about 100 international medical graduate friendly programs in various states. And they strongly advise you have to apply it all of the states, because if you concentrate on one state, there is a high chance that you may miss the opportunity. So you have to apply all throughout all the United States and almost 100 programs. And here comes the match day, where since you have ranked the preference order and you applied programs will rank their candidates in a preference order. And in March, usually they call the match day, and it is very famous in US clinical graduates too. So in that day, so they will have a sort of automated computer program that will sort of merge these two preferences together. And depending on their order, if you are selected a program in your preference, and your program also selected you as a preference, then both interests will match and you will be selected for the residency program. So in match day, you will be notified that whether you are matched or not. So all these steps will lead to this day where you will be matched. It is usually, if you are planning for a 2023 match, the 2023 match day will be around in March of 2023. So your job starts in June of 2023. And once you match, then nothing to worry. So all your work paid off, you can go into residency. That's the success entrance. And for a successful application, I would try to sort of re-emphasize the scores are the most important things for the successful application. And the other thing is the year of graduation. So in United States, because they don't have any idea about the other countries' medical system, and they believe that if you are a graduate and your graduation is more than 5 years, that means you are not working as a doctor for 5 years. So from year of graduation and until you get into the US residency, that carries a significant amount of significant amount of consideration to get into residency. Because if you are a graduate from 2003 or 2004, that means you are more than 10-year-old graduate. Then they have when a residency program gets application from all these candidates, they will get for a residency, they will get about 1,000, 2,000 applications. So they sort this application based on the scores and based on the year of graduation, the visa status. All these things are the important things they use to sort these applications out. So they need to take out the important applicants from this 2,000 applicant pool. So this sorting is happening through this computer generated process. So if they select, they need less than 10-year graduates in their sorting application. Then if you are a graduate with very good CV, unfortunately you will be left out, because they won't see your application at all, because it is not selected by the computer generated program. So it is strongly advisable if you want to pursue a US career, you have to start it very early, because once you pass out, you need to start working on that. But it's not a negative thing. There are people who got much after 10 years, after 15 years, and it depends on your rest of the component. If you have a very good score, that means your scores are in more than 250s, and you have a clinical experience or LORs, then there's a high chance this year of graduation won't matter much. And so we don't have to sort of more worry about this rest of the things if you have a very good score. So score, that I would say. If you have a very good score in step 2 for current scenario, then rest of the things doesn't matter much for a successful application. And so this is just to summarize the total amount of expenditure for this pathway. So we need to have an account of this economical status, because I know the country's economy is not that good, and to invest a large amount of money in US dollars, we need to have a strong economic background too. So we need to worry about that. We need to plan it accordingly before getting into the steps, because wasting money for step 1 and step 2 and dropping the pathway will cost you about current situation will cost you about 6 to 8 lakhs in Sri Lankan money. So the whole process for the exams and the current sort of I would call the administrative process, you have to spend almost $7,285 at this moment. But I'm not sure whether there's a chance that these fees will increase for next year and next year. So they will increase about $15 to $20 a year with all these fees. So for the current given scenario, you have to spend about this much of money for the application and the exam and administrative purposes only. Plus, you need to sort of pay for the resources like UWorld and other question bank pools. And then you need to sort of pay for the accommodation and traveling and things like that. And fortunately, some of you have mentioned that since we have a exam center in Sri Lanka, this expenditure will be significantly less compared to the rest. So that is a very good thing. So you need to pay a huge amount of this much of money to pursue this pathway. So, and the another thing is, before COVID, you need to visit all the station in person for interviews. But nowadays, their interviews are through online. So if you get an interview, then you can sort of face the interview from Sri Lanka too. You don't have to come to UK, United States to do this exam, do these interviews. So that is one more advantage of COVID, I would call. So probably you will definitely ask me this question. So by wasting all this money, I would say not wasting, by spending all this money and going through all these struggles, what's the pay of this annual pay of this doctor in United States? So this is quite a recent data in 2021-22 compensation data, where it shows for the usually in United States the surgical will be specialties will be paid significantly large amount compared to a medical field, but the lowest salary is for an EI is 243,000 US dollars. It's way higher than rest of the countries. And if you are becoming a plastic surgeon or a neurosurgeon, then you will be get paid about 550 to 600,000 US dollars. And interventional cardiologist, again, from internal medicine, you can get about 450 to 500,000 US dollars per annum per year. So roughly you will get about 35 to 40,000 US dollars per month. So that is an extremely huge amount compared to rest of the countries. So the pay is good, but the thing is the pathway is significantly difficult to get this pay. And so I just mentioned the comparison of salary scale between different countries. So in United States, doctors are insanely paid. That is the the different thing compared to the rest of the country. If you take United Kingdom, you will be, if you are in a better job, then you will be paid about 138,000 per year. But in United States, you will be paid in 316,000 per year average. So it's significantly. But for residency, it won't be. For first 3 years, you will be paid about $3,500 to $4,000 per month for first 3 years. Once you finish your residency, once you get into the fellowship, then your salary will go up like 20 to 25,000 per month. So that's the difference between the salary scales of United States and rest of the country. So that's the end of the USMLE exam pathways. So I hope I was able to touch few important things. And
there were a few questions from YouTube, so we can't see the questions from YouTube. So they were asking, is there any age limit for PLAPO AMC?
Yes, there is no age limit at all to take all these exams and pursuing this pathway. And I know there are people who are in their 40s and 45s still pursuing the pathways, and there are people from India. They usually come in the ages of 35 and 40 and pursue the pathway and successfully match these programs. So I would definitely say there is no age limit at all. So the year of graduation is one thing that we have to worry, but if you have a very good CV and very good score, then we don't have to worry much about the age limit.
Okay, another question. What about the tax and tax return from the seller?
Yes, that's a very good question. The thing is, when you pay, your pay is more, the tax return is significantly more, but definitely your take home will be more than 15 to 20,000 US dollars per month.
Okay.
Once you finish your what do you call the residency.
Okay. Any advantage of doing internship in back home?
Yes. If you finish your internship in Sri Lanka, then you can straight away apply for the first pathway 1. The pathway 1 is more easier and more quicker pathway compared to pathway 6, because pathway 6 you need to take OET plus there is an example mini-sex that you have to come to US and do that under a ECMG certified consultant. So that is a bit of a cumbersome pathway compared to pathway 1. So if you have a full registration in any country, then that is a large added advantage compared to not having a full registration.
Okay, I think it's very complicated pathway, so we will share this video, then all the participants can watch this video again and again, and they can have some idea. If they have doubt, they can contact us, and we can on behalf of the participant, I can ask you questions or help from you. So one is, as you said, they establish the resources, or maybe a question pool. It's a bit expensive, so if you and your friends your team, if you can help them by doing few free sessions and questions and all, so that would be better for especially our colleagues and seniors and juniors. So, and of course, we are lagging in having contact with the people who are in USA. So then when they are contacted with us, so obviously we may have to help them. So hopefully we can form a team and will help them. So yeah, happy with this.
Yeah, we are very happy to sort of help our colleagues and friends and juniors and seniors on this. So definitely we can sort of help, and we can advise, and we can give question pools, and we can give advices and everything to pursue this pathway. So it won't be a problem, and you can contact us at any time. Yes.
Oh, thank you so much on behalf of my colleagues and friends. So we will continue to work on this, and we will do some guidance questions and question pools and all. So we'll get the help from our education to upload all these so they can access. And those who are attaching with us, we will help them to find the residence and the visa process and everything, but all the aspects. So this is so, and also when they join, also we'll invite them to join with us to help the others as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we wanted to make this as a sort of a process where a generation helps the next, and the next generation helps the next. So the people
Perfect.
who want to migrate get the help from the seniors who are already there in their respective country. So it's something that we have to carry out as a tradition. I believe that it should be something like a tradition. Yes.
Thank you. And what we can do, we will discuss a few things about PLAP, as you did the PLAP already and you are aware about it. Just tell us, and Sivakant will join shortly to tell us about something different pathway in UK. So just tell us about the PLAP exam. Then Sivakant will discuss with us the other pathways and all.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Anna. But the thing is, so I have a few experience in PLAB pathway too, so I will just share that too as well. But the PLAB pathway is pretty straightforward. It's not complicated as USMLE. So USMLE is a long pathway. It's a long timing and things like that. So as you all probably aware, PLAB is conducted by the General Medical Council from UK. And this is again licensing exam. And if you want to practice in UK, this is one of the, but in USA, the only way is you have to go through the steps, and then you have to go through the residency. But in UK, there are a few other in between pathways which is merging to get a licensing exam. One of which is PLAB, and you can take it from MRCP, MRCS, and things like that. You can do you can finish your postgraduate training in Sri Lanka, and you can go through the MTI pathway. So there are a lot of pathways that you can achieve a full registration in UK. The thing is, so I'm just mentioning for the beginners who are in the initial stage to sort of go through the PLAB, because it is an easy exam compared to USMLE and AMC, and short and not of a significantly costly process too. So it has two parts, written and OSCE, and upon completion of those two, you can have a complete GMC registration, and you can go and apply for jobs. And the eligible candidates are the people who can sort of who their universities, it should be in the WHO approved universities. So I think most of the Sri Lankan universities are there in the WHO approved list. So we don't have to worry about if you are Sri Lankan graduate. If you are a foreign medical graduate, then you have to check whether your university is there in the WHO list. And if it is there, then you don't worry. And to take this PLAB exam, you need to take IELTS or OET beforehand to start your PLAB journey. So nowadays, since OET is freely available, and if you can get B in all grades, it is comparatively easy compared to IELTS. So then you can go ahead and take the PLAB one. The major issue nowadays with the PLAB one is getting a seat in Sri Lanka. I heard that it's very difficult to secure a seat in Sri Lanka for an upcoming exam. So people are trying to do the exams in countries like India, Malaysia, and Singapore. So the thing is, to getting a seat and getting through this PLAB exam, registering for the PLAB exam is one of the difficult job, I would say. And this is pretty straightforward. You have 180 questions. It's not that hard. And there are resources like Plabable, which will help you to prepare for this exam. And the exam is for 3 hours, and you'll get a pass or fails, and you will get a score. But score doesn't matter. Either you get a very good score or you very less score. If you pass the exam, that's it. So they don't worry about your score, and it's available in Sri Lanka. And the preparation time is variable. So if you are sort of in a free station and you can spend about 3 hours per day, then you can take the exam in a month and a half for the PLAB. So, and the cost is about 247 GBP. So it's relatively cost-free, relatively easy, and relatively you can take the exam in a short period of time. Those are the significant advantages of PLAB 1. So once you finish your PLAB 1, you have to travel to UK, and you have to travel to GMC Centre, which is situated in Manchester, to take the PLAB 2 exam. So it has three. Yeah, I can see something in the chat. They are mentioning that PLAB is almost full till 2023 June. So that's something that is expected. So it's unfortunate, but once you finish your PLAB 1, then you have to go to the PLAB 2, which is in UK. But getting PLAB 2 seat is relatively easy than PLAB 1. And it's a 3 hours and 10 minutes exam. It's a OSCE exam, and each station is 2 minutes of reading the question and 8 minutes of performing the station. And most of the stations are related to basic sciences, and basic science in the sense communication skill, and then very basic clinical skills. So those are like your final year exams, not up to the level of a final year exam. So pretty easy exam. And just to get in touch with the exam, there are a lot of academies which is functioning around UK, and nowadays they are offering online courses too. So you can join one of them and you can get in touch, and you can sort of learn what is happening and how the exam setup is and things like that before going to that. And that will cost you about £906. So PLAB 2 is costly compared to PLAB 1, but it's a fairly easy exam compared to the USMLE steps and AMC. And again, if you pass the exam, that's it. So and the number of attempts doesn't matter. So you can pass it in your second and third attempt, but it won't affect your application process, and it won't be a bad thing when you go for an interview. So you don't have to worry about the number of attempts and the scores. So just pass, fail, PLAB 1, PLAB 2 is enough. Once you do that, you can go ahead and register your GMC, and this is the domain blueprint which is given in the website, and they are checking on these 4 domains. And this is just a comparison between the USMLE and PLAB. So exams you need to get done before residency, step 1, 2, and OET, but in PLAB, step 3 is optional, as I mentioned earlier. And for PLAB, you need to do an OET, IELTS, and then PLAB 1 and 2. And for USMLE, the prep time will be long, but in PLAB it's short. And difficulty level, I would say, if USMLE is hard, then PLAB is easy. And scores matter in USMLE, but PLAB it doesn't matter. And USMLE, your whole pathways cost more compared to PLAB, which is significantly less. And USMLE, once you finish your preparation, the job availability will be average, and it will take a longer time to get into the job, because every year you have only one slot of every year they conduct one cycle per year. So there won't be a sort of multiple opportunity. If you miss one cycle, then you have to wait a year to get into it. It's like getting internship in our country. But in our country, it occurs in every 6-month basis. But in here, every year. The thing is, the PLAB, once you finish and once you get a full GMC registration, then you can go ahead and you can apply for jobs in NHS Jobs website, and there are a lot of job opportunities, and the job openings are there in between and things like that. And if you know a friend in UK and if they're working, you can sort of ask them, and there are a lot of resourcing companies. You can register with them, and they will find you a job in no time. So it won't be an issue if you want to pursue a job career in UK. And the training is entry into the training program is in USMLE. It's straightforward. Once you finish your residency, your fellowship, and you become a consultant, it's straightforward, short period. not that time consuming. But in PLAB, it's indirect. You land up in a non-training job usually. It's difficult to land up in a training job, but then you have to apply for the training jobs and you have to get into the system, and there are different pathways for that. And once you get into the system, you will get to know what to do. So this is indirect and direct, and the salaries in UK, as I showed, you mentioned in US, the salaries I would call excellent. Then in UK, it's average, and there is a significant tax reduction in UK too. So the salary would be average than even in Australia. So Australia, you get a fairly good amount of salary and a fairly very good amount of quality lab too. So I'm not aware so much about the Australian system, but as I heard, if you sort of categorize your salary, then US, Australia, and UK, something like that, from first to third. So that is the comparison between these exams, and I'm sure some of you, or maybe a significant amount of you, are pursuing a career pathway at the moment. And yeah, there is one question from here. Yeah, so yeah, that's the end of my presentation. So I'll try to answer a few questions from this chat list. So one person is mentioned, Dr. Kavishka, I believe. He asked about, can we get our families? Yes, you can. And you can sponsor them, or you can take them with you in a different visa category. If you're coming on a J1 visa, then you can take them with a J2 visa category. And there are ways, so you don't have to worry about getting your families to the to your respective countries. So yeah, there is one question about racism and things.
I think now they don't do that, right? So they are against.
Personally, I don't feel any discrimination or racism in US. I've been here for about almost a year, but I don't encounter these type of things. But there are reported cases, but I'm not sure. I'm sure that they are not that frequent, so it won't be a problem. Is there a time period to finish USMLE after you? Yeah, you have to finish it within 7 years from your step one. Yes. Yeah, this is something. Why did you switch from PLAB to USMLE? It's something related to our personal preferences, because I had some family commitment and things like that, so I switched. Yeah, it's something that you do it for personal things. What are the other pathways? How long it will take to secure a job after finishing the PLAB exam? It's not that much. It depends on where you apply and how you apply. So sometimes you can get it in a month. Sometimes you can get it in a year. So it depends.
I think I can answer for that. The last question. So what are the other pathway for the UK other than the PLAB? So when you applying for a job in UK, so only minimal requirement is you need to have a GMC. That is the minimum requirement. So there are different ways to take GMC. One, if you have done a recognized postgraduate degrees, like especially in Sri Lanka, anesthesia, surgery, obs-gynae, and medicine. So those degrees are recognized by GMC. So if you have done recognized postgraduate degree, straight away you can apply to GMC and you can get your GMC registrations. Once you get the GMC registration, as Aravindan mentioned, you can apply the job through NHS jobs and you can get the job. So that's one process. Second one, if you have done the internship and if you have experience back home, so you have two ways to get the registration done. One, either you can do the PLAB and get the registration and join to the work. Second one, you can do some Royal College exams like MRCOG, MRCP, or MRCS. So once you get that exams, you can get the registration. So if you do the MRCOG, MRCP, MRCS, whatever, you will get the job with the GMC registration as Trust Grade Registrar, SHO job, or even you can join to the training pathway as specialty trainee 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and you will become a consultant. Or if you haven't done the internship, you must do PLAB. So then you have to start from foundation year as internship. But if you have done the internship back home, With PLAB, you can get the SHO job or maybe a trust grade registrar job. If you are a person who have done the postgraduates and you have completed your postgraduate training in your country, so you can join as a trust grade registrar, but there is a special pathway called CESR pathway. So where you don't need to do the training, they will assess your back home training and they will recognize as your consultant and you will get registration as specialty registered. So you will be a consultant here, maybe in 2 years or 3 years time through the CESR pathway. So those are the different pathways. I think Shivakant has joined, so he will tell us something about the UK pathways and his experience. So that might be more useful than what we are talking. Hello, Shivakant, welcome.
Hi, Rajun. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you, Rajivan, for arranging this opportunity. So I'm Dr. Swakan, currently working in UK. I'm doing GP training. So let me share my screen actually. So I will actually, when I was coming to UK, I found lots of difficulty to find the appropriate pathway. So I think it's better to have a good overview of what is a proper pathway. So I will explain that as much as I can. So hopefully that will be helpful for some of you. So my pathway, so I have done MBBS in Sri Lanka, and then I moved here. Actually, I moved in a dependent visa, not in Tier 2 visa. That's something different because my family was here. And then I have done the FLAP 1 in London, but FLAP 1 exams conducted in overseas as well. And then FLAP 2, when I was doing FLAP 2, it's only in Manchester, but nowadays they are conducting in Oxford as well. And then I joined as a clinical fellow in emergency department, and currently I'm doing GP training. That is my pathway. So like whoever considering to move to UK need to have an overview of what you can expect here. Like, because when I was coming to UK, my expectation was different from whatever I'm seeing. I was thinking as everything will be full of building, there won't be any trees like that, but it's lots of difference. The environment is very different, and you can see 4 different seasons. Like the temperature can vary from minus, and like the lowest temperature was 27.2. I think it's 1995, not after that, in Scotland, and it can go up very high as well, 38.7. That was recently actually. So that's, and you won't like, only the city areas will be like full of building without like much of trees and like flats and those things, but most of the areas you will be seeing like semi-detached or detached houses with lot of green environment. And the landscape is like, you can find most of the areas with like hills, mountains and beaches. Like you will have enough places to visit around within the UK throughout your lifetime. But during the daytime and nighttime also different during the season. During the summer, it will be like bright sunlight until 8-9 p.m. and will again the sunrise will be at around like 4-5 a.m. But during the winter time, the sunset will be at around 4 p.m. and sunrise will be like 7-8 a.m. So that also differ here. So if someone coming to UK as need to work as a doctor, the main thing is that GMC for a doctor. So they say like working with doctors for working for patients. So they are the regulatory body. So we need to get a membership from the GMC to work as a registered practitioner in UK. So there are certain ways to get memberships. One is that FLAP, Professional and Linguistic Assessment Board. So I'll talk about that FLAP. And other one is that if you have any membership of Royal College of Physicians, or obstetrics and gynecologists, anesthetists, surgeons, whatever the Royal College related to medicine, you can get membership GMC registration through that. And there's some other pathways so that they give a full registration for international postgraduate medical professionals. And there's one more pathway, actually, it's called MTI, Medical Training Initiatives, so that they give the opportunity to work in the UK to gain some experience for the people from country where the income is low income. Unfortunately, Sri Lanka is not within that list, but I believe India was within that list few years ago. I'm not sure, but right now, actually.
I think
So
they are giving the MTI to Sri Lanka as well. So a few
is
of my
it
friends, few of my friends went through the MTI pathway as well.
okay? But it's
Yeah.
quite difficult to get the MTI.
Yes,
You
that's
have to
true.
have a good network to
Yes,
get the
that's true.
MTI.
Yeah. So you need
So
to have a
it's like you
good
can have
contact.
that as a backup plan, but you will have to have a proper plan to move to
Yeah,
UK
that's
to get an
correct.
MTI.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And again, so about the PLAB, if we talk about the PLAB, so even to apply for the PLAB 1 exam, we need to prove our English language proficiency. So we can get either OET or IELTS. I find OET is quite professional related. So most people find that as the passing rate is more to OET. We'll need to get on IET, we'll need to get 7.5 average and 7 in each component, that reading, listening, writing, and speaking. And OET, actually, I'm not sure about the score. It was because when I was doing it was banned. You need to get B1 for the OET. Now it's the scoring system, something around 300. And you can find that on the OET website, the GMC website.
Yeah, you need to get
So once we have that,
you need to get
sorry?
more than 350. You need to get
Yeah,
more than 350 for each component.
350. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. And once we have that, when we need to upload that on the GMC website. So before, like, I need to mention that. So it's better if you have some plan to move to UK, it's better to create a GMC online account. If you go to the website, it's straightforward. You don't need to pay anything. It's there will be some straightforward questions, and you will be given a GMC reference number. That will be the GMC number throughout your lifetime in the UK. So once you create that, you can upload that into a GMC account, then you will be able to apply for the PLAB 1 exams, so that they contact overseas as well. In UK, they contact 4 times, and overseas 2 times. And they contact the PLAB 1. At the moment, there's a high demand for the PLAB 1 exams. So getting dates being quite difficult for nearby. There are some cracking way for this. There are some people who like exchange the dates for other people. Like when someone cancel the FLAP exams, they get that date and give it to some other people. You can like pay some extra money for that and get some early dates. There's some like networks for that as well. If anyone want, I can give the contact details. Sorry. So yeah, once you complete the flap one, so the flap one, this when it's 180 questions and it's 3 hours, so it's like 1 minute for each questions. It's multi-choice questions. It can be a single best response, or can be a clinical scenario, and then some multiple choice questions. So you can get the flap blueprint to get an idea about what are the questions what are the systems we will get for the PLAB one. So this is the PLAB blueprint. It's freely available on the GMC website. So it won't be much useful to prepare for the PLAB actually, but the GMC recommend to go through that before sitting for the PLAB. So it will give an idea as what are the most important components we have to consider. And it's mostly like most questions related to medicines, unfortunately, for the PLAB. So whoever doing a postgraduate training in back homes, they may need to refresh their knowledge from their primary degree to get through the PLAB 1 if we are coming through the PLAB 1. So most questions like 60% related to like general medicines, and like 10% for the other like gynecology, obstetrics, and orthopedic is like orthopedics quite low, it's like 6-7%, and general surgery is like 10%, and dermatology, psychiatric, and one more component that most of our people find difficult is that ethical questions. So because they give more priority for the ethical questions, and because ethical practice in the UK, so that's the one thing we will need to prepare more about that. There are a lot of ways to prepare for that. Actually, honestly, I prepared only for 1 month for the PLAB 1. I used some online resources. What I would advise, you will need to stick to one resource. If you try to use multiple resources, you will get confusions and you will be spending more time in one question, so one topic. So Mauro Education's also creating a FLAB 1 preparation. So that will be like enough resource, mostly enough resource for the FLAB 1 preparation actually. As you most of the times you wouldn't need any textbooks to refer if you only need to pass for the exams. I'm telling that if like, but some people prefer to have it like proper reading about the topics. But if you need to read about that something, that you can use the Oxford handbooks, no need to go for the big textbooks, and that will be enough to prepare for the PLAB 1. Once the passing rate for the PLAB 1 is like around 60 to 70%. So there are quite a considerable amount of failing rate for the PLAB 1. It's mostly because of the ethical questions. Most of the people find it difficult. Whatever we find as ethical, we will find is something different here, and some questions, ethical questions, difficult to understand if we are not familiar with that. So it's better to spend a good time there regarding the ethical questions. And it's like the average passing scores like 110, sometimes go down to 102, 103, sometimes go up to 118, like that. It's like around 110 out of 180 questions. This is the passing rates with the passing score. It's they decide the passing score each year, so it's different for each year. So once you complete FLAB 1, you can apply for the FLAB 2, and again it's quite difficult to get early date for that. This is the reason that UK pathway, the FLAB pathway, can take a while, maybe 1 to 2 years to complete that. Again, you can find some people who cancel the exams. If they do something like that, you can get their dates, but you can't directly exchange that. You will have to rebook they will have to cancel the FLAP exam on the GMC website, and you will have to book that like immediately after that to get that slot. There are some people who do those as well for some extra monies if you want to get that. But nowadays, because of the demand, it's been quite difficult. For the FLAP 2, it's most of the people, they attend the course conducted in UK. There are a few centers, they conduct course like for the FLAP 2. So it will be like maybe 10 days, 15 days face-to-face, because they teach the practical stuffs as well. So the way of the exams, it's 20 stations, and it will be some clinical scenarios or ethical scenarios, and it will be 8 minutes for each stations. So like there will be 2 stations that they don't score for the exams. So 2 stations for the rest stations, and 2 stations they don't score for the exam, that they prepare the scenarios for the next exams. So it's mostly out of 16 stations, they get the pass rate. So it can be like some emergency situation like unresponsive patients, or it can be some counseling for some people, some like elderly people or young person, teenage person, or it can be some complications, managing some complications in wards like that. It will be again, it's as per the blueprint. but it's difficult to predict as what could be the cause scenarios. So what happened when you attend this flap 2 preparation centers? They teach most of the scenarios, so they get most of the scenarios from the people who have attending the flap 2 exams. So you will get to know most of the scenarios, but GMC also know that there are preparation centers, they teach their scenarios. So you won't be able to memorize and tell whatever you have memorized in there, because the GMC examiners, they are very good in detecting that. If they think as you are memorized, you are telling whatever you have memorized, then they won't give you a good score, and they have the right to fail you as well. Usually the course is 15 days. So what people do, like, if you can't get the visa for the flap 2, because you will have to attend that in person in either in Manchester or in Oxford. So when so they get the visa, and they come to UK maybe a month before the exam, or else you can even apply for the visa for the flap preparation course as well. It's a tourist visa. You can apply for that as well. So they come for the preparation course and attend the course. And the good thing about the preparation centers, you will be able to find people who are going to do the exam soon. So you can prepare the scenarios and practice the scenarios with other people. I think that is the most important preparation about flap 2. That will be helpful for passing the flap 2. If you prepare in proper way with other people without memorizing, if you're understanding the scenarios and doing that properly, you will be able to pass that in one go. Again, the pass rate is a little bit more for flap 2 actually. It's like 65 to 75 pass rate. But again, so you mostly, like, there will be some 1 or 2 new scenarios in each most of the flap 2 exams. But that is not going to affect much, because if you prepare the flap, so you will be able to prepare manage the new scenarios as well. So you won't have any difficulty to manage the new scenarios. And for the passing, mostly it's like if you pass 11 stations, 12 stations, you will be able to pass the flap 2. So that won't be a difficult actually if you prepare that and if you give a good time for that. The most important thing they notice during the flap 2 is your communication skill and the ethical skills. So what I found that it's not they are looking for whatever we have the knowledge, because they says that they have checked your knowledge during the flap 1. So mainly they're checking for the ethical and communication here. So there should be a good flow when you are doing the flap 2 exams. Like you shouldn't give a uh, give the opinion that, or the examiner get an opinion that you are thinking, or you are spending some time in thinking. So you should have a good flow. Whatever you are telling is something wrong or right, just need to go in a good flow, and like that will give you a good score. So even if you have limited knowledge in some topics, you will need to show good confidence level during the flap 2 exams. Those are the important things. They are not looking for the knowledge mainly in the flap 2. Obviously if there is something going very wrong, so like for example, if they are giving some scenarios, patient with some anaphylactic reaction, you shouldn't kill the patient on the scenario. The patient should be alive at the end of the scenario, but you can't take multiple detours to make the patient survive, then you will pass the scenario. That's how the exams, they're not looking for the knowledge. And once you get this flap 2 completed, you will need to get some documentations, something called EPIC. So need to get the primary degree certificate verified by the EPIC. That take quite a few times. So you can start that as well when you are doing the flap 2 exam, because the EPIC itself, it doesn't require other than the primary degree, but the certificate is valid for a certain time only. So that again, you can like sign up on the EPIC website and need to upload your primary certificate. and the transcript as well, if that is available, and they will contact our university directly, and then they will verify the degree, and then they will issue the verified certificate. That is the one. After that only the GMC will accept our certificate. So if our university delay in verifying our certificates, that can lead to some delay in that. So that's another thing that you can do while you are preparing for the PLAB. And once you get that, and then you will need to go in person to get the GMC registration. And then you can get the GMC registration. If you have done the internship already, you will need to submit those documentations. Most of the internship from the Asian countries are accepted by GMC as a foundation year. So in UK, the foundation year is basically 2 years, foundation year 1 and 2, but it's not the same in other countries. For example, in Sri Lanka, it's only 1 year, and it's equivalent to the foundation year 1 and 2 in UK actually. So if you have that, you can submit that, and you will get a full registration to license to practice. After that, getting the job, it's different. Before moving to that, I will mention something about these other pathways as well. So if you have the registration, if you have the membership of Royal College of the Royal Colleges, again, you can apply for the membership at GMC registration website, and you will get the full membership at with license to practice. And about the full registration for international medical graduates, that actually it's sponsored by the trust, so that if you get job, you will get that registration. So if you have the registration through PLAB, you will have an opportunity to get job in whatever the specialty you would like to get, depend on your experience in back home. There is something most of the people do while they are doing the PLAB too. So because when we are applying for the job in UK, they expect if you have UK experience already, and those people get priority, or else they will expect if we have done any clinical shadow in UK. So what people do when they come for the PLAB 2 exams, because it's a 6-month tourist visa they get, so they contact the hospitals to do some 2 weeks shadowing, clinical shadowing. That will give a opportunity to get to know the consultants in UK, and like majority of the people who get jobs within the same trust where they do the clinical shadowing actually. So, and also the consultant, whoever you are doing the shadowing with them, they will be able to give you the reference. And when you have the reference from UK consultants, you will get more priority when they shortlist for the job. So you can consider that doing that shadowing as well. There are some hospitals who require some payments for that, and some procedures, legal procedures, the security clearance as well. But some hospitals, they offer for free as well. It's depend on who the consultant or HR department we are contacting. But you can, if you have friends or some relative in UK who are already in NHS, you can ask through them. They will be able to guide you on, like, help you regarding the that.
Sorry, Shrikant. So I'm sorry to interrupt. So what is our duty? So why we are gathering here? So we will try to help our juniors and the colleagues, right? So somehow we have a lot of friends here. So we will form a team, and we'll find some kind of help for them, right? Or to find maybe observe a job. But honestly, NHS is in crisis, right? So they need more doctors. So somehow you have to get your registration, GMC registration. So if you have GMC registration, obviously you can get job. Getting job in NHS is not a matter. Yeah.
Getting job is NHS it's not a matter, but it can take some long time. It's depend on whatever the other things we are doing that. For example, if we have the clinical shadow and UK reference, we'll get earlier, and otherwise it can delay a little bit. And one more thing before moving to UK, I would advise about the postgraduate training in the UK. So there is something called Oriel. So I got a screenshot of that. It's this is one. So this is the website where we can apply for the postgraduate training. So if you go into that website, depend on whatever the specialty you are looking for, you can find the person specification. And I would advise, because most of the consultants in back home, they are UK recognized. So you can get that person's specification signed off by the consultants in back home before moving here. Because once you move to UK, is everyone going to be new for you. So they will need to evaluate you before signing this. And you can transfer some skills from abroad as well. So if you are considering, most of the people will considering entering to the training. So check the person specifications and then work on that before moving to UK as well. Actually, we can do that from the time we are doing the final MBBS or final year medical degree, because most of the things we can sign off during the final year. And there are people says that it's difficult to get into the training in UK. That's, I think, is mainly because of we don't look into this person's specifications and we don't get that signed off. We will have done most of the things in back home, but we won't have evidence for that. In UK, you will need a proper evidence for everything. So that's the thing will be valuable. So what happened in UK, so they will know all this. So whoever studying in UK, they will prepare everything and they will have signed off and they will have a proper evidence for whatever they are doing. So when I apply for this, so the postgraduate is the selection for the persons based on scoring system. And for some specialties, they do a screening exams as well. For example, GP, A&E, neurosurgery, psychiatric, you will to do something called MSRA, multi-specialty recruitment assessment. And like for surgery, so those things they do only based on the scoring system. So the scoring system is not on the exams actually. So even for the exam, for the specialties where they have exam, they do the scoring system after the exam. So it's depending on how many publications we have published in journals and how many research we have done and how many procedures we have done. So we'll need to upload all these in the Oriel. So when you are preparing for the migration, go through this person specification, whatever the specialty you would like to get into, and work on that as well. And if you do that, I have seen my colleague here, they came as a trust grade, and within like 6 months they got into the training and moved into the training as well. And I also got into the training after 1 year. But I didn't know about the training procedure on the first year, so I didn't apply properly on the first year, and I applied second year and got into the training. So it's like if you work on that properly, then you can get into the training. It's not going to be difficult. You will need to have a proper evidence for whatever we have done, depend on the person's specifications. And so other than that, when you move to UK, the living in UK, you can bring the family easily. So if you are coming in Tier 2 visa, your partner can come in Tier 2 dependent visa. When they come in Tier 2 dependent visa, there's a small trick in that the partner won't be able to do the training in UK if they want to get into the training. They can apply for the training jet, but once they get the training, they will need to get a new visa, again Tier 2 visa, because the Tier 2 dependent visa doesn't allow training in the UK. And you will be able to bring your children as well easily, because most of the salary scale will be enough to bring your children. And the life in UK is like, if you are living within the London, the expense is quite high. Main expense in the UK is the house rent. So if we are going outside of the London, the house rent will drop significantly. Like for example, if you are living in the London, it's better both of, like if you are a family, both of the family members need work, or if you are alone, you will be able to manage without any economical problem, actually financial problem, you will be able to manage. But if you are living in somewhere like outside, like 2 hours away from London, you will be able to manage with one person salary, even if you have a family, and you will be able to save some money as well with one person salary. Other than that, in getting holidays in UK, like when you are working, if you are working as a junior doctor, the schedule will be quite tough compared to back homes, because we won't be able to get annual leaves longer than 2 weeks in a row. Sometimes, like if we are on call on certain days, that again we won't be able to get annual leave on those days as well. So that will be something quite tricky compared to a back home. And usually we will get like 25 days annual leave. And if you are working more than 5 years in a NHS, you will get, I think it's like 7 additional days, 32 days, something. Other than that, there's everyone will be helpful there. You won't see much racism in UK hospitals, because most of the hospitals like you can find from various countries, like Asian, Africans, and like even like from Australia, USA. Like the NHS is combining a lot of people from different countries, so you won't find much racism about working in the environment. And most of the places you will be find helpful, when especially when you are new here. So the work schedule can be stressful, but the working environment not stressful most of the times. And that's the main thing we can tell about UK. And if you have any questions, I can try to answer. I had worked on like lots of things about this UK training and the enrollment, and talk to multiple friends to get all these ideas, because when I was moving, I didn't have much idea about what do we do here. I will try to answer some of your questions, so that will make clear as well. Let me see.
Yeah, and before go to the discussion, so as discussion, so as we discussed earlier, we'll form a team. So I have discussed with couple of tutors who are involving with PLAP and the other exams. So we will form a team, and we will try to help our colleagues and juniors to prepare the exams and find the jobs and other manners. So some of the friends are asking whether it's possible to prepare for PLAP 2 from Sri Lanka. Yeah, of course, we will arrange through the online. So we will have a chat with the relevant people and we'll arrange those things. So once we start this one, we will gather more and more people to our team, and we'll work together for our colleagues.
Actually, it's already like in multiple countries, they do conduct this PLAP 2 preparations in like back homes as well. So like you will have know all these stuffs, whatever you have to do. So whatever you will need to learn is that how you present that in the exam. That is the most important thing. So if someone can guide from UK, then you will be able to prepare from back home. That won't be a difficult task. Any, where's the question start, Raju? Okay, let's go from bottom. What is the difference between entering through PLAP and MRCP? So you will get GM's registration. So what happened when you get the first job? If you have the MRCP, you will be like mostly getting a job related to whatever the MRCP, if you are a physician, you will get a medical related job. And if you have an MRCP, during the enrollment, you will get a senior grade. and if you are a PLAB, then it's depend on your experience, you will get whatever the grade, like the junior grade or senior grade. But if you are a MRCP or Royal College membership, you will get sometimes they call it a senior clinical fellow or specialty registrars, like the senior grade, and it will be your specialty. One thing is that because you will need to find a job within your specialty, so that something can be taking time consuming, but it won't be an impossible task, I would say. Somebody asked about unauthorized pathway of FLAB 1. It's not unauthorized pathway. What happens? So people apply for the FLAB 1 exams and then they cancel. So what people do is, like, if they cancel, that slot will become available on for the FLAB 1 exam. So that's when they cancel, someone can book that slot, that slot. So it's not unauthorized slots like the official slot, but you will need to have the space. So like there are some people who sell these slots if they can't do the exams. For example, they expect some money, because if you cancel the slot like exam within certain dates, you won't get a full refund. So in that case, they will ask someone, like if there is someone who is looking for a date, they will ask for some money to go get the money they paid to the GMC to get that back, and they will cancel that, and you will apply, you will book for that date. So some people do the both, cancellation and booking at some odd time where other people won't be trying to book. So that's how it works. It's not something unauthorized, but the money involved is that unauthorized. It is, if it is, no, are you talking about Northern Ireland or Republic of Ireland? Somebody asking about Ireland. If it's Northern Ireland, it's include, if you have GMC registration, you will be able to work. If it's Republic of Ireland, it's different.
Yeah, somebody asked whether do we want to do MRCOG Part 3 or MRCP or placement for GMC registration? Yes, you need to do MRCOG Part 1, Part 2, Part 3 and MRCP placement as well for your GMC registration. And another question, somebody asked if they have done PLAP and MRCOG and full training program in UK, can they work as a consultant in Sri Lanka when they back to Sri Lanka? No, you can't. So the Sri Lankan postgraduate and the consultant pathway is a bit different from UK. So you can't.
If you are passing the board, your qualification is not valid.
Yes.
It is validated for doctors. That's what happened for our degree as well. To get it
Yes.
validated, only we are doing this. Somebody asking about UKMLA. So UKMLA, they are trying to introduce, there are some delays in introducing that. So they say it's going to be similar to USMLA, but what happened is going to be the same exam for the UK graduates and the overseas graduates. So it's going to be so it's going to be a little bit more tough in the initial stage, because we won't have any ideas what's the questions likely to be and what are the questions going to come. Again, in UK, most like NHS is run by overseas staffs mostly, so they will need overseas staff, so they won't make it that much difficult for overseas people.
Okay, Sivakan,
so
thank
somebody
you.
asked about gap in CV.
Okay. Yeah.
Let me ask about the gap in CV. That let me tell that as well. Gap in CV is not a problem. I have seen people who have worked after like 8-10 years as well. Even our seniors, they started to work here 8-10 years as well. Only one thing you will need to do is you need to explain as what were you doing during that time. It doesn't need to be something related to medical, but need to explain that, and then they will accept that. Yes, Rajivan. Like, yeah, I'm running out of time because I'm on my break. I'm at work now. So thank you for this opportunity. If there's any questions, I think on the WhatsApp group I can answer, and Rajivan will answer. Or
Yeah.
There will be a lot of people to help
Thank you
you.
for your valuable time.
Yeah.
Thank you for your valuable time. So
Thank you.
we are having another colleague from Australia. So we will discuss about the AMC. Then we will discuss the doubts. Thank you, Sivakant. So if any doubt, we can discuss through the WhatsApp group. We'll start the question discussion as well as early as possible. Yeah, thank you. And Shavi from Australia will discuss about the AMC. Hello, Shavi, welcome.
Hello, good evening, everyone. So thanks for inviting me tonight. I'm just trying to share my presentation with you. Can't see for some reason, sorry. Sorry, I just send it to my Google Drive from the. Sorry about that. Just give me a second, sir. You there? Hello?
Yeah, Shavi, yes.
I'm trying to share it from my Google Drive, so. That's okay, I'll come with my phone then. Hello, sir. Hello, sir. Hello, sir.
Yes, Shavi, your voice is echoing.
Sure, sorry about that. I'm trying to.
I think you can leave the meeting and join again. So that would be better. So then this problem might.
Hello, sir. Can you allow me to be a host so I can share my presentation?
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Is it there? Hello. Hello.
Yes, yes, Savi. We can see your presentation. You can start. Yeah.
Okay, sure. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. So, nice to join with you guys today to discuss about AMC examination. So, I have a very brief presentation here, showing you how should you register with AMC and to go through the examination process and secure a job in the system. Let's go to the different registration pathways. So there are three registration pathways. So standard, competent, and specialist pathways. So the pathway I went through is standard pathway, as you can see. And most of the people who come from overseas, they have to go through the standard pathway because they don't have enough qualifications. Like sometimes they need like 5 years of experience as a consultant or, in consultants. So like not all the doctors can get into the specialist pathway here in Australia. So when you go to registration pathways, let's go with standard pathway first. So so for IMGs who have primary MBBS or MD recognized by the Australian Medical Council, they can apply with the AMC. So there's a VDOMS. It's called like a World Directory of Medical Schools. So if it's approved, like it's eligible, if your medical college is recognized by the VDOMS, you can apply for the AMC. I'm sorry, I'm a bit panicking at the moment because I haven't participated in such a long conference. It's like more than 300 people today. So let's go to the AMC examination, like the CAT MCQ examination. AMC have two parts. So AMC CAT MCQ and AMC clinical exams. So like CAT MCQ exams, if you go like, it has 150 questions, MCQ questions. So the pass mark is 250. So there are 120 scored items and 30 pilot items. So pilot items are not scored, so you don't get marks for that. So the components are like adult health medicine, adult surgery, and obs-gynae, child health, mental health, and population health. So as you can see, can you see the numbers? 35, 25, all these numbers. So total is 120. To practice, you can practice for the MCQ exam by using some references. So like AMC textbook from online store, or you can buy it from a friend or someone else. So it costs like 275 Australian dollars. And if you want that, most of the people have a soft copy of it. Even I must be having one in my file. So I can provide you with that soft copy. I need to just check on that. And other than this handbook, we have some MCQ bridging courses like Health Education Australia Limited and Alan Roberts International. So I think we have discussed it some time ago as well, because this is my third time doing the conference. So I have given the links for you to click on it and have an idea. So the latest 10 weeks course is like 1,200 Australian dollars it cost. And Alan Roberts has like a live broadcasting one for 6 weeks around, I think it was around $3,000. So other than that, we can also do some Q banks like AMC Q Bank and Influx Q Bank. So those are the links for those Q banks for you. And also for AMC exam, there's like Facebook groups. I've told you already, like Amc group. And it's a must for you to do some recalls for like about 6 months. The more the recalls you do, the better for yourself. So you get hang of it, and you will definitely get a higher score. As you know, the high passing mark is 250. So if you climb up more than 250, that will be really great. And for both AMC Part 1 and Part 2, we can get reference from John Murtaugh. So the latest edition will be the best edition. And I have here the link again for that book. And if you go to part 2 examination, you have this clinical book that you need to really do all the cases from this group, from this book, and this costs around $275. And I'm not sure where you can buy it. In Australia, you can buy it, but it's almost I can see in Australian like Facebook groups. And I don't know if you're writing something. I can see that someone dropped a message. I can't see it because I'm using my phone. Earlier, I was using my Mac. So I'm a bit like, I can't really see what you're writing. Sorry about that, but I'll definitely get back to you if you ask me questions. So like clinical exam wise, the mostly used study material is Karen's notes. Like everyone has it again. So Karen's notes contain like, it's like recalls for like about 10-15 years, I believe. So in those recalls, they have a good collection of recalls from all the streams like ONG and PEDS and surgery, medicine, and public health and ethics. And however, this I should say that this material is not updated, so you need to use some guidelines and up-to-date or BMJ best practice for you to have your own way of expressing yourself and talking to examiner. Like it's all about talking in AMC clinical exam. If you get like really scared, like some people like me can panic, you can have a beta blocker for that. And if you go to bridging courses, like we have again the same bridging courses we take for MCQ exam. Heal and Alan Roberts. I took the Heal course, and I highly recommend Heal course. It's like I think the tutors are specifically trained, and they are very like intelligent, and they have knowledge, and they are up to the mark. So with Alan Roberts, I'm not sure because any person who can pass AMC exam like without a like, you know, without any more experience, they can join as a tutor in Alan Roberts. And then for AMC clinical exam also, you need to do recalls, and there's a specific group called AMC Clinical Exclusive. You can send a request and they may accept it. Sometimes they have some conditions, so you need to show your AMC like candidate numbers, some papers for them to approve you. And let's since we talk about these AMC exams, AMC 1 and AMC 2 is a must. However, we can bypass AMC 2 by getting a WBA position. That means a work-based assessment. I'm not sure if you have heard of it. Must be some of you have heard of it. This one is specifically done after AMC Part 1 in specific hospitals. Like there's a list. I have like in the next slide of mine, I have put a link for you guys to have a look, just the sites. If you're applying from overseas, it will be easy. You directly contact the name of the person who is dealing with this. And currently I'm working in a hospital, they provide WBA. So then what else? Other than this registration pathways, there's competent pathway for the UK, Canadian, Irish, Scottish, USA, New Zealand graduates, and also there's specialist pathway as well. So basically 3 pathways. What ERPM candidates can go through is standard pathway. And let's go back to our, like for any other exams, like you need to verify your degree. So we have here Australian Medical Council, sorry, we have here Primary Resource Verification Agent in ECFMG. Like you need to make first of all, you have to submit your degree to ECFMG to check that if your qualifications are verified or not. Then you make an EPIC account, then the AMC portfolio for that. And then I have mentioned the fee included here. So for that EPIC account, that you pay most like $130 plus $100 US dollars. And for AMC portfolio, I can So AMC portfolio, I'm sorry, I get distracted by the questions. I can see, I'll give you my email address for sure. So it's in the end of my presentation. So, well, what's next? For AMC portfolio, it will be like 500 Australian bucks. So, and I have given the link as well for you to click on it and have an idea. So basically, once you apply for an ECFMG, that when you're creating an EPIC account, it will take around 2 to 3 working days for you to get an EPIC ID. And you need this EPIC ID to establish AMC portfolio. And after that, you will be given an AMC candidate number within like 3 to 5 working days. Yes, so yeah, in the next slide, I have shown once you get your AMC candidate number, you can, once your report coming back from the EPIC and the ECFMG, you may be able to apply for your AMC exams and sit for it. And there are specific event dates for, I didn't know I'm not on video. Sorry. So, yeah, after sitting, like, then you will get your AMC. When you sit, there are specific AMC centers. Unfortunately, both the exams are not held in Australia. So because MCQ is held in PSMU centers, there's none of them in Sri Lanka. In other countries, they do have. So maybe you can go to one of the countries and sit for it and pass it. However, I think the clinical exam is held in a national test center in Melbourne, and also it's held in online as well. So it's for you to like clarify with the AMC when you book in, because things can change from time to time, week to week. So there should be the latest thing, even though I say something that it's not the most confirmed thing, because they can change the center as well. So currently at this point of time, it is in NTC, National Test Center in Melbourne. So charge wise, I can see that you can see it in this slide. So it's 500 for the portfolio and 2,720 for the CAT, and clinical it's 3,530, and WBA 650, AMC is 300. When you pass both part A and 2, you will get the AMC certificate. It's 300 Australian dollars. It costs, like if you need some other copies, you can get it from them. It will be an additional cost for it. And let's go. So these are about the boring exam stuff. So all right, let's talk about after passing AMC life. Well, it's I really advise you to apply as soon as possible for the jobs and have a very good CV, because the CV is not read by a doctor or someone first. It's read by the it's picked by an HR person. So what she looks at it, like if you have any gaps or you are up to date with your CPD points, or whatever the qualification you have, and the more how many procedures you are capable of doing, competent with. And then so have a good CV. Also prepare for your interviews. It's more or less like like AMC MCQ exams, the cases. Like in my exam, I got like my interview, I got like sepsis, and I forgot that they basically asked the introductory and the questions. So we prepare for that as well. So there are specific like questions they can ask. You need to prepare, otherwise you can mess it up when you get panic, especially. And standard CV format I would like to go through. Hello. It's not.
Yeah, can hear.
Okay, so standard CV format is like, yeah, so personal information and qualifications. Then if you have done bridging programs, it's a plus for you. Like they think that you have adapted to the Australian system because those bridging programs are like regularly checked by the AMC. So, and they believe that once you're done, that you are a qualified doctor. So, and the clinical procedural skills has to be, as I told you before, it has to be put into the CV as well. And work and practice history and gaps in work and practice history, and also registration history if you have like references and publications, and also some conferences if you have attended. Also, if you have any memberships with Australian like a college, it will be really looks like wonderful, like it will be great. And because like I have written them in the next slide as what CPD courses you can do. So CPD courses are like down. The Think GP one, the one I usually regularly do because I want to become a JP once I practice for a while. And then so you can go there and do some free stuff in CPD activities, and go to RACGP membership one. And it's handy to have one because they look, if you are really keen into Australian system, to understand Australian culture, because if you go to Northern Territory or central part of Australia, there's plenty of Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders. So they believe that you have like all like overall like approach for the Australian community. So what you can really contribute to them. And so, all right. So life in Australia, how will I say, like it's better in every aspect, and you know, every like many dimensions of well-being relative to other countries. So like the salary is like Australia outperform, like Australia has good salary status, and basically in the first year you can't really earn much. Like it's like maximum of like can go up to 90 to 100,000 like basic. And if you work on the best thing, the good news is like if you work on Saturday or Sunday, that means weekends or public holidays, you get more salary on those days, like double salary on a Sunday or public holiday. Even if you don't go to the work, you get salary on public holiday. And compared to Sri Lanka, I haven't worked in Sri Lanka, so it's like it's not like you work 24/7, 365 days, and you work and you get enough rest. So even before your next shift, you have to have official rest time to go to work next day. So I think that is something good for you guys. Everyone is like, all right, okay. So well, also once you finish your first year, that means that every foreign graduate here in Australia should start with level 1 or level 2 as a level 1 or level 2 doctor. That means it's the registered, like the supervision level. So in level 1 supervision, either intern or a freshly graduate, you know, from freshly graduate IMG could be in that category. So he's a level 1 doctor. But if you have experience back home, that means you can get into like level 2 position. Once you're done with either way, whether you are level 1 or level 2, the first year, like you call is an intern for a local ones, JHO for a IMG. IMGs cannot get a internship here in Australia. It's close to impossible. And it's very unlikely that you can get a position in Australia as an intern. So your first year will be a JHO. Intern is called JHO as well. After JHO, you are promoted to SHO. After that, after 1 year, I mean, so at that time you have general registration. So you can decide if you have completed your pediatrics term and the ONG term. you can go into like kind of GP training. You can like I have finished those rotations as well. So, but I haven't stepped into the GP pathway at this point of time because I have some commitments and all. And then either you get, when you get general registration, either you can go to like go to this GP pathway, or you can go to BPT, basic precision training, and in that you will have a lot of jobs as a registrar. It's a bit hard task, and it's a bit you know, with so many responsibilities. And you can go in that pathway and one day become a you know, physician. And I must tell you, there's no hard and fast rule in here in the system. Like, it depends on if they think that you are a good doctor, that like honest, and you you are capable of doing tasks. The first thing is, like, for an IMG, the first year IMG, they have to be a like a safe doctor. It doesn't mean you need to know each and everything. So you can all the time, what they mean by safe is always, if you're unsure, you can ask your registrar. So that's a good point, that you can say, like, discuss with Dr. So-and-so, and the plan as per registrar is this. So you won't get into troubles if you're really unsure. Make sure that you don't do something really stupid, and that you just document whatever you do. And so that's it. And then yeah, and what else when you're working? So, and one more thing I would like to add, once you have general registration, you can go to do locum job as well. So I told you, like, at the beginning, that a junior doctor earns very little, like 80, 90, $100,000. So, however, when you're doing locum, you can get good salary, and that includes, like, sometimes, like, I get some emails about $270 per hour, or in a emergency department in somewhere in the night job. So it depends on where you work and at what time you're working. So, and some jobs they give like $120, $140, $150 per hour. So basically, as a locum doctor, you can earn like $15,000 to $16,000 after tax. So that's a good thing. And as well. And also, I'm not sure if it's boring. You should tell me what I should talk about. I really don't go through the messages at the moment. Okay. What was it? I'm going to your question. If you have experience with ERPs, can you draw any comparison with CAT density? Oh, okay, cool. So for that question, because I did my ERPM after passing AMC. So like, what can I say? I think ERPM exam is difficult than the AMC part 1, because ERPM exam has some plus minus, like minus questions which gives you minus marks. So we don't have that thing over here. It's like anywhere else in over the world, like in a international medical exams. So we only have SBAs, the best answer. So we go with that. And wise, I think if you really practice exam questions in the handbook and MDEX or MPLUS or recalls, I think this is something you can really achieve. So I believe I ask you to dream big and, you know, always be positive that it's something doable. And I believe that AMC is easier than ERPM, because I did that exam and somehow I passed from first time I passed clinical exams, 3 exams. And then also I have completed my ERPM exam anyway. So yeah, so I believe. So next question is, Someone says they have GMC registration. Do I need to do AMC again? I don't think you need to do that. You can directly apply for the APRA if you secure a job. Emergency post. It's Chintana asked. Chintana asked about trainee salary, please. Emergency post. I don't know what do you mean by emergency post. It could be RMO for SHO or PHO or registrar. So it depends. And actually, there's not much big difference if you're working for a contract position. That means that you secure position through the RMO campaign, or you apply for a job and get a contract for 1 year. So in that job, you get like $100,000 to $150,000. If you can be very specific about your question, I can say that you can email me afterwards after this presentation. So I'll be so precise with you other than telling you something incorrect. And I'm not sure about, yeah.
There is a question, Savi. So somebody asked, what about the job opportunity after completing AMC Part 1?
Okay, it depends. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. Thank you for asking that. And it depends on how many years of experience you have. If you could kindly type that for me, like how many years of experience you have, I can give you a better idea of that. So experience, how many years? Because if you have passed only Part 1, you can definitely go to that presentation, click on that link and find a supervisor or the doctor who's doing that, and find a WBA position directly from Sri Lanka and write to the doctor and get your thing and come to Australia if you have many years of experience. But if you have less number of years, that's a bit tricky. I don't believe you'll get one unless you are a PR or a citizen, but it's not guaranteed. I don't think, I'm sorry. I'm a very positive person, but I don't agree with that. Like, I don't think you will get a one if you have very less number of experience. Sorry about that. And so I wrote in a paper, once, like when you apply for a job, certain things matter. Like if you have passed Part 1 and 2, that's like gold. You qualify to get a job. Like, even if you don't have much experience, Australians still believe that you are a smart person, that you have cleared something similar to like their local exam, and they believe you are similar to one of their colleagues. So you might get a job in that case, and chances of getting a chances of jobs is very higher than if you pass like only one part of the exam. However, having said that, you have to have like a CPD points done and no gaps in your history. Like gaps wise, I say that I heard one of the doctors from UK said there are no, like you don't have to have a medical gap, but I do believe that here is a bit tricky. The medical background you have, like that's better. And yeah, so, and also if you have one exam and years of experience, you can try to get a WBA, and you can still try to get a job if you have years of experience with Part 1 with limited registration. So it's your duty to find a job, and once you are doing that job, it's your duty to find a job to get all the rotations. You need to get general registration. What are those? Let's discuss. So those are general medicine, 10 weeks, and 10 weeks of surgery, and 7 weeks of emergency medicine. So, and yeah, so if you get those, you might or might not be getting this rotations in one single hospital. You may have to find it in different hospitals, or there are some hospitals which provide all the rotations for you. And yeah, my email address is drsavitisilva@gmail.com. It's in the last slide. I have mentioned, I try if someone contact me through my email rather than the number. So if there's any case, if someone really needs to talk to me, I always get the number, call back, and I'm really sorry. I blocked the number because I want to have a good sleep. Sorry about that. But I always talk. If someone wants to talk to me, I always.
If they want, they can contact through the group as well. So they are in the group, so they can contact through the group
Sure.
as well. Yeah,
that sounds really great. And yeah. All right.
And Shavi, as we have a separate team, like for the USMLA, I have a separate team. For the PLAP, I have a separate team. So for AMC as well, of course, we are having a separate team with you. So as we discussed for the other license exams, so what we are going to do is we are going to help our colleagues and friends by doing some guidance and some exam paper discussions, and we'll guide them for finding the placement as well. So
Sure.
and of course we'll let our friends to join with us to work with us once they get the job. So then obviously it will be a good resource person for the next generation or next paper.
Sure. Do you want me to? Am I allowed to talk more?
Yeah, of course.
Because I really want to help with
of course.
Sri Lanka, because all of them are my ERPM colleagues and junior doctors. So I really want to help them. And yeah, because everyone deserves to have a brighter life. So guys, all right. So Minoli asked, okay, I'll write my email address. Everyone is having that issue. I think Minoli has already contacted me some time ago. I remember her name. All right. Yeah, Shasidar asked me a question about the gap. After passing stage 1, if we have family in Aussie, is it easier to live in Aussie and then do stage part 2? So it's yes and no both. There's no black and white answer. It's a gray zone, like, because they might tell you, oh, you have a gap, so you might have to go back to the country of origin and do your internship and come back. So not internship, I mean to get more practice and come back. Sorry for that. And yeah. Someone asked me, volunteering will help our application as well. Of course, definitely. And make sure that you don't waste on your volunteering much, because you need to prepare for your exam as well. Once you pass part A and 2, there will be always a chance for you to get but try to work it out. Like volunteering, you don't have to volunteer 24/7, like few days, like just to, what do I say, like to make your CV nicer. And do you have any other questions? You can write it down for me here. I can answer. So sorry about my computer thing, and I don't know what happened, and I couldn't share it from my Mac, so I'm with the phone. Seems like there are no questions. I wanted to tell some other stuff as well. And I remember someone told today that there's a number of times you can attempt, but in Australia, the good news is you don't have to worry about that. You pass. No one's gonna go into your privacy and reach and say that how many times you sat the exam, which is good. And it's yeah. And there's English. There's English language requirement for AMC. So the latest requirement I checked, it was like IELTS academic 7 in each 4 components, and OET 4 Bs or above. And if you have passed PLAB or NSREX, that's a New Zealand exam, I think it's a good one as well. Like it will cover your English proficiency as well. So it's Dr. savidisilva@gmail.com. drsavidisilva@gmail.com. All right. Does a gap between date of degree and date of completion of ERPM matter? ERPM, where this ERPM comes from here to the picture. Okay. Not really. If you have practiced, if you have practiced, if you have like recency of practice, that would do that will be fine. So yeah, there's no like degree and the ERPM. And I should tell my colleagues, guys, ERPM. So you have a good chance. Like if you don't get your, have always plan A and B. Like many options, many doors open for your career. So if you have a chance to go back to the country where you did your degree and do your internship, and because things get delayed in Sri Lanka, I think it will be a like fancy idea that you should go and you do this thing and come back. Like then you will save a lot of time. I think that when you do the internship, you get some time to pass part 1 at least, so you won't have a big gap while you're doing part 2. If it's possible, I highly recommend, but always do ERPM as well, because it's the country of origin where we are from. Even myself, I did ERPM because in case if I had to return to Sri Lanka. So, and Viraji asked how long AMC part 1 will be valid till we do. There's no such thing. You can take some time. If you're working, that's all good. If you're not working, that's an issue, but make sure that your gap is not that high and you pass it like as soon as possible. Like there's no such gap. The only thing is here is CPD and recency of practice in Australia. Do most international medical graduates have to work as a rural doctor? I don't believe so. No. I don't know. I don't think so. I don't think so. Not all for sure. So some of them, like some of my friends who has more experience, could secure a job in Melbourne, in Victoria, but I had to go to Queensland because I got that job soon after applying for that. And I must tell you that for any job, if someone is in Australia is in this conference, they know how many CVs we need to send for us to get a job. So it could be even up to 100. So don't lose hope. Always stay positive, stay positive. That's what I have to say. So you will get there one day. So be patient all the time. No, you Chatu Kavin, and you don't need AMC for sit for AMC part 1 or 2. That's a good thing again. So, so is it more? Deshan says, is it more advantageous between medicine and surgery for internship compared to pediatrics? Well, there's no such thing. I don't know. It's very individual, because you are the one deciding who you want to be. If you want to be a generalist or physician, GP, I think doing medicine will be like really nice, and medicine will give you like, medicine covers most part of our body. So like you will get in touch with, you will cover many like areas. And surgery here in Australia is pretty easy. As a RMO, you don't have to do much, and all the plan is coming from the registrar. We just do the clerical job sort of thing. However, we have to go for surgeries as well to assist. So assist like a starting doctor, fresh budding doctor, I don't think like we need like, trust me guys, my internship is coming from Russia. So I have done internal medicine in internship. So I have intern medicine. And I had to request specifically, please give me some like weeks of surgery at least. So I did some in cardiothoracic unit in Russia. So someone says, have a long clinical gap. Will it be hard to get a job? How many years of long clinical gap you mean? And where have you been, like in Australia or in Sri Lanka? So Harry, you said you have a long clinical gap. Can you clarify that to me? Like how many years of clinical gap? And let's go back to Kartif. Different level home salaries. Okay. That's a good question, because I forgot something to tell you. Like once you get like $70,000 to $100,000 as a level 1 doctor, I mean JHO RMO level, RMO first year, and there's something called REMSERV. So in Queensland we have REMSERV, it's salary sacrificing. So in that case, what we can do is like we can deduct our salary pre-tax, so we get more tax, like we get more money to our hand. It's a system in I think all over Australia, because I have practiced in Queensland. We had REMSERV, and I think the other one was Smart Salary, if I haven't made a mistake. So in REMSERV, they deduct, like they give you like $9,000 pre-tax money to you, so that you will benefit from that as well. So you can add that, oh, I'm paying for my rent, or I did this shopping, whatever, and you can get your money back from where you call from the system, Queensland Health, from the health system you're working for. And the other thing is like when you're earning this amount, you pay taxes, not like in Sri Lanka. So in those taxes, you can also return these taxes if you have done something. Suppose that you buy a computer. Oh, this is for my work purpose. You give the bill to the tax agent, or you just upload by yourself to MyGov, or just better to buy a tax agent if you don't have a MyGov. MyGov means an account for Australian citizen and PR. I'm not sure if it's for the other citizens as well. So in that case, if you can claim back for your computer, your iPhone, your smartphone, and your internet bill, like net utility, I mean, and sort of many things. So yeah, and I think I quit someone else's questions. So and about the level based salary. Okay, so 76 to 100 and plus add-ons for your public holidays, work salary, and also for weekend salary as well. So it depends really. I can't exactly give you a sum. However, if you get your general registration, if you do a locum position, you get jobs in any hospital where they want a locum doctor, and you need to really get you get paid well, and you get accommodation, so you don't have to worry about that. So guys, I believe, be positive, because take this as a good investment, and I don't want your lives to be ruined because of the current situation in Sri Lanka. Your parents have invested something for you, and you really have to come out of this stick somehow. So keep faith and do these exams as soon as possible, so you will get there somewhere. There should be always light at the end of the tunnel. So there's take home salary. So yeah, so I can't tell you without you telling me the positions. Consultant earns a lot. Like I once got a locum position for, I told you, I think just now, some time ago, like ED SRMO position, like SHO position, it was like $270 per hour. So but it's very individual. I don't want to work in the nighttime in ED for that money, you know. It depends, whoever, it depends on the person. If you want money, you go and work on your weekday and in the nighttime. So someone, Ginoki Pereira, Marco part 1, is there any chance to get a job in UK? I'm very sorry, I don't know things about UK. I'm based in Australia and in the health system. Sorry about that. Post-intern, 2 years of experience. Amila Pemeratha. So 2 years of experience, what would be possibility of second job after AMC part 1? Well, 2 years experience is a bit tricky. You can apply, you can try always to apply for WBA, workplace-based assessment. And it's about like a game. You need to really take the risk and apply for it. It's 600, I think, how much dollars it was, like a WBA, like quite, I'm not sure. So I wrote it there on the thing. So if you are ready to spend that money for WBA, you can write an email and send it through to the person who is doing the selection criteria, and that person will get back to you with an email. It's just to send in a simple email. So I think, Amila, you can try with that WBA. And part 1, do you have PR or citizenship? Otherwise, it's like, I know that it's a bit tricky. Sometimes when the hospital really in need of a doctor, they can take you, sometimes not. So I'm not the one to pick your CV and get you there. But it depends. Sometimes I worked with one Sri Lankan doctor. She was working in Sri Lanka for many years and 8 years in Singapore. And she said that she had to go through the same like junior doctor thing before she got her registration. She had to do the same 10 plus 7 months, weeks of rotation with us together. And is it a Ross, I don't know who's that. Is it a disadvantage if you apply for a job in Aussie while you're working as a MO in public health? MO in public health where? In Australia, or I quite don't get your question, sorry. There's no gap between AMC part 1 and 2. Shashiter. MRCP, I'm quite not sure if you have MRCP, that you should be having some experience, like how many Harshini addressing her. So you should be having some experience back home. So depending on that also, you can, there's no right or wrong answer. It depends on your luck, and it depends on the need where with the hospital workforce. So I'm not sure if your MRCP valid for Australia. I'm not sure about that. It should be like, if you have done PLAB, I think it's definitely. I'm not sure about the MRCP for sorry about that. Non-rural area. Okay, Viraji asked me, what factors determine securing a job in non-rural area? It's about whether you have passed part 1 and 2, and with how many years of experience you have, how many years of gaps, or how many months of gaps you have, and also are you up to date with the system, like having some CPD. CPD is like continuity of professional development. Even I have to do, like I'm going to apply for my every doctor every year, like every September we need to renew our general registration. So we need to do some amount of CPD points, like CPD activity, to get the like to renew our registration. So all these things matters, determine securing a job in non-rural area. And also if you are PR or non-PR, also a fact. But if you have years of experience, I have lived with someone, my colleague, when I was in Queensland Health, and she's from Malaysia. She did part 1 and 2, and she had back in home experience 8 years. She got into my hospital. So there's someone like me. I had only internship in Russia, and I still got into the job. But I had no gaps. I had my CPD was up to date. I have done some courses in Australia, and I was a PR back then when I applied. So anesthesia training after AMC registration. All right, Chintana. So about anesthesia training after AMC registration, do you mean the limited registration or the general registration? I assume you mean general registration. So if you don't have background of anesthesia, where the country you practice, I think it's Sri Lanka. So it's a bit tricky. It's like, even for me to get an RMO anesthesia rotation, I asked my hospital, they said, oh, it's filled out. Like, but I went on like 20 some of December for the next year, but they said to me they will give me, but I didn't get it, unfortunately. It's very competitive. Usually local graduates are so keen on doing anesthesia here. So I'm sorry about that. Harry A wrote 7 years. I now forgot what those 7 years for. Okay, how many days of leave per year? Okay, that's a good question as well. We get like Queensland Health, we got like 4. All right, 4 years. Let me have a check. I wrote it. 4 years. Sorry, it's 4 weeks of annual leave. Sorry, we are entitled to get 5 weeks of annual leave, and also we can get like some leave like sick leave when you're working. Don't get much sick leave, guys. So you can get like 7. Like you need to cover it every cycle. Like it goes minus, then it comes up to plus, then you can again go for. Then you have no pay leave, and you also have stress related leave. So I think it's 2 weeks or so stress related leave. So you can like get, there are many types of leave. I don't know, like maternity leave. So basically 5 weeks of annual leave generally. All right, so when you're paid while training, you get paid. That's true. And even WBA, workplace based assessment, you get paid. So once you do AMC part 1 and do WBA, so you will be paid. So there's no like exploitation here in Australia. So you get paid for what you do and earn your bucks. So I joined medical school in 2004 and passed out 2015, Latvia. All right. So I think you have 5 years of experience in Harry. You have 5 years of experience back in Latvia. So you can show AMC that you have worked in Latvia. So that's a good thing. So why you worried about ERPM now? Why don't you directly apply for part 1 and 2? So you have done seems like you've done your internship there. So that's a good thing. 5 years, is that significance? Yeah, of course, 5 years of working experience is good. This for the advantage if you apply for a job in Aussie while working as that I don't know what is it. It's about, there is this skilled occupation list. You need to go through the visa, the immigration. So how you do these things is you pass part 1. I'm talking to Nethuki Himaya. So you complete first. To get PR, you have to have a job, or there should be someone to sponsor you, right? So to someone to sponsor you, you need to get a job. So to get a job, you need to pass exams. So this is the other way around. You pass part 1 and 2, and then you write to many hospitals, like plenty of hospitals in Australia. They are in need of doctors. We are short of doctors here. So like you part 1, part 2, you apply for hospital, pass the interview from Sri Lanka, and then they will sponsor you to Australia. In that case, you get here, you practice, hospital will sponsor your visa. I forgot the number. And then after getting general registration, after passing English exam, you can apply for PR. So this is how my Malaysian friends trying to get PR. Usually, so I'm talking to some Ross, APC1, well, public health, it's a bit tricky because they look for your clinical experience. Having something is really good in medicine, but it has to be clinical field. And it's a bit tricky again, because I know several experiences. As I told you before, there's no hard and fast rules. There are doctors, like there was one, I had a doctor who was a spinal surgeon. He did his part 1 and 2. He had a huge gap with kids, and he still managed to get a job. He was a PR though. So I don't know what they're exactly looking for. You have to tick the box for everything to be in the safe side. All right, about finding a job as a RMO. That's a good question, UP. So basically, when you pass ERPM or when you pass Sri Lankan final MBBS exam, you directly get a job, right? Here, if you pass AMC, no one is going to give on your plate, hey, take this job. No way. So, well, for that, you need to write to the hospitals. You need to have a bright CV. You send it to the HR and ask them, like, you can even, pull their leg. You can call them and ask, hey, did you receive my CV? And then they will pick your CV. However, those hospital lists you can get from the Google net. Queensland has his own way of doing it. I was with Queensland Health before I came to Tasmania Health, Tas Health. So their system is they have RMO campaign, intern campaign as well. So RMO campaign is about to start in a month, I believe. So you need to upload certain documents into the RMO campaign. It doesn't matter you're from overseas, but you need to have English. That's the issue. So you apply for that job. Then they pick you. So their selection criteria is like this. Imagine I'm working in my hospital, and I'm also applying for the same campaign, and you are applied from overseas with same background. You have passed part 1 and 2 and English, and I'm applying from inside the hospital. So they try to pick my CV. They try to keep me more than training someone else from outside. However, every year interns come, interns go. From some rural hospitals, interns don't want to stay. They want to go for better opportunities to like a Princess Alexandra or Royal Brisbane Hospital or wherever. They want to go to Melbourne or wherever. So in that case, we always short of doctors. I think like always there will be chance for outsider to come in. This is how I got my job as well. And even though they say that they take doctors from campaign, there are some moments they take doctors from outside of the campaign as well. And to say that, I believe that I was outside the campaign before I applied for the campaign. I got the job. So after AMC registration, Minoli, PR immediately after AMC registration. Do you mean AMC general registration when you get the general registration? Because after passing it to both exams, you get only the how do you call it? Provisional registration. So okay, as I told you before, Madara Herat, so it's 10 plus 10 plus 7, 10 medicine, 10 surgery, 7 emergency medicine, and altogether it has to be 47 weeks of practice as RMO. So that could be coming from psychiatry or ONG or pediatrics, or sometimes hospitals have like hospital at night or you need support. So you need to do those things as well. While doing online exams for a period of 1.5 years, be a problem with AMC. I just don't get your question, sorry. Vinuri Karunanayaka, you're doing online exams. What online exams you're talking? Okay, someone asked, Ali Ahmed asked, can we do a specialization gen surge after passing AMC? Like this, I usually don't say negative things. It's still possible. For example, I had a colleague in my hospital. He was asking only the surgery rotations. I heard like recently he got a PHO position. So JHO, SHO, PHO. So once you get into a hospital, if you show your interest to the department and the HR, like the workforce, they will definitely consider your request. And it's quite, I'm quite happy to work here because everyone help each other. Even Aussie try to help everyone. Like, for example, I'm doing some night jobs these days. So sometimes if I can't do something, I can definitely ask help from my colleague. Or even if I don't ask, they come to help. So we help each other even without having to ask. Courses you need to do, I think SJ, I think I've written that the bridging course, and also I have given you CPD activities. You can do that. You can get RSCGP membership thing. My address, I have already, it's drsavidisilva@gmail.com. Yeah, the compulsory rotations, Madara, 10 plus 10 plus 7, medicine 10, surgery 10 plus 7 of emergency medicine. However, getting those 27, you can't get general registration. You have to have 47 weeks of practice in Australia. Is it clear? That's does that make sense? So can you please help me with my question I explained about? What was that? Ross, can you write it again? Copy paste, please. How many hours per week do I have to work? So it's usually 40 hours. It could be plus, like it could be more. If you have to do OT, sometimes some colleague can call sicky. So in that sick leave, you have to fill up. So in that case, you can earn more money. And I'll tell you, in daytime, your pay rate is different. Evening ward call, you pay is much. I think it was 1.5. Oh, forgot. Sorry. Evening it's much more, and in the night work we get more paid. So 40 hours per week. No age limit for anything. And my study partner who studied with me for part 2, he is a bit old. He's a neurosurgeon, and I can see some. I have worked as a clinical examination, AMC clinical trial examiner with Alan Roberts and the Heal Health Education Australia Limited. So I have seen many doctors come in very, they're not very young. So what about the job opportunity once you become a consultant dermatologist in Sri Lanka? Okay. That's a tricky question. I think the best person to ask this question would be Dr. Rajivan, because consultant, you have to be like 5 years. So you have to have certain amount of numbers of years working as a specialist to get into the specialist pathway. So the neurosurgeon I talked about, he had to start as a junior doctor as well. And but there are some programs, like once you become junior doctor, you don't have to be like JHO, SHO, PHO. You can directly go to, I think, advanced trainee or registrar position if you have 20 years of experience. So again, you always have to clarify it with the hospital. So I'm telling you, all the hospital emails are on Google. You can Google it and you can find it, especially go to the hospital side, and sometimes you can ring them up and ask, hey, this is so-and-so, I can I get the HR number? So Amila, 5 years experience, 1 year critical, geez, okay, diploma and 3 years of anesthesia. Oh, I think that you have a good future. Like you will get a chance to apply for that. Amila Mika Hawata. So I think you should directly write to the hospital and do your English test and directly write to the hospital and secure position. So you write to the workforce and get to know about it. Then Madhavi, I completed internship and then I have gap year of near 6 months. No, 6 years. It's not it's internship, isn't it? Oh, the issue is like hospital pick up the CV and picks up the CV and they look for your like gap year for near 6 months. APRA won't, even hospital picks it up. APRA won't give you registration. Like there's something called like 3-year thing. Like if you have practiced 3 years, some kind of gap is negotiable and variable. So, but near 6 months, I think you have to work a bit harder, like to do it faster. It for Madhavi and Ravindu. They're outside Australia. If you go to AMC site, it's pretty bad. My computer stuck all of a sudden. And if I can open like AMC site, there are dates and venues for the AMC exam. You please go to the AMC sites. I think.
No worries, Shavi, because we are going to continue to do the guidance through our AMC WhatsApp group. So that time we can specifically guide them. So when to apply, how to apply, and we'll do some questions. And for the clinicals guidance, those things we can continue to help them. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So I didn't get quite. Am I still allowed to talk?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. For Madhavi, you may or may not have to go back to Sri Lanka. I can't give a clear answer for that because it's what APRA selects. So that's why I'm asking each and every ERPM candidates, like, please, once you pass your final year, once you get your degree, please do part 1 if you really wish to come to Australia. So then you go to Sri Lanka, do your thing, get your internship and come here, or else bypass Sri Lanka and get your internship outside, like where you studied, and get here. So for Ravindu, when you go to AMC site, there is like, I have some like AMC MCQ site. So if you go to the AMC site, you will say dates and venues. Like you can see out of Australia how many stations, or in Australia how many stations. Okay, so it's there. I think in Sri Lanka and Singapore we have stations. So those will be the closest destinations for you, and the cheapest variant for you. If you have someone over here, you can come to both exams within, like, you have to prepare, like have in advance, get some prep before getting here. So during that time, not to waste money, like, not to, it's costly these days. So maybe you can stay here and do both exams and go, like, is it? So China banned foreign students due to COVID. Oops. Okay. Therefore, we have been doing online studies. Okay. Okay, Vinuri. So what is your question? I don't know if you, I think if you're, I haven't seen something like that in AMC sites. If you get your degree here, if they say your university is on the list, and I believe that you'll be fine. So, because you didn't write me a question, I don't know your question. I assumed, and I just just told you. What's the difference between full GMC, reg, and provisional? Okay, so provisional registration means you have, once you pass part 1 and 2, when you clear it, you get provisional registration. To make it general, you need to secure a job with a hospital and start working under provisional registration, as same as in Sri Lanka. And once you finish the so-called, like, the numbers of weeks, 47 weeks, 10 mandatory, 10 plus 10 plus 7, you will get your GMC, general medical GMC general registration. So, and sometimes, sorry, I'm like going here and there. Also, I remember when you say when you want a tax return, you can apply all these documents as well, the Gen Reg, because it costs around $800 for the Gen registration. So you can always mention to tax officer, like tax accountant, that I have paid this much, give my money back. So yeah, I think sir will send you the presentation because of COVID channel. If AMC doesn't mean Vinuri Karuna Naika, so if no one tells you anything, you don't have to act on it. So no one told you that. So it's not easy as I think, because it's your money and those things. But if AMC did not mention it, it's their issue, not yours. So you can always talk back, and and I think I answered to Amila already. You have a good chance. SJ, I told you about the PR pathway. You have to pass part 1 and 2 and get a job in Australia, secure by passing an interview, getting through, and then come here and work and get PR. I'm sorry to hear about that, MD. So some restrictions to China. Okay, so clinical experience wise, it's about, make sure when you go to Sri Lanka that go to a local hospital and practice. I know that we won't get practice. We are not allowed to touch patients, and we're not allowed to. I've been there in Sri Lankan local hospital as well, like seeing patients for ERPM exam. So try to learn at least something, especially cannulation, MD. So cannulation and some basic procedures, BBGs, vein puncture, all these things. This is what they are looking for from a junior doctor. If you don't have, I told you about myself, I had only 1 year of experience in Russia. So I managed to get to this point. So definitely you can. So how frequently do they conduct exams? It's very frequent, not like in Australia, not like in Sri Lanka. They don't cancel anything. Pretty like straightforward. You can go to the site, look for the exam dates. There are open dates and closing dates. It's sometimes a bit tricky to book an exam because when you go to book, many people go there from all over the world and server gets down and we'll have some issues. So you need to try from different devices like your phone, computer, or any device. 2.5. Melanie, it's the same answer I have to give if AMC doesn't say anything. Maybe you don't have to act about. So it's just see once you pass, once you get your degree. If they don't say a thing, if they don't post anything on AMC site, if you go and check if your medical college is how do you say eligible, just apply for it. Why not? So it's you were not told. So this is how things happen here. So you are not told, so you don't know. Experience of 15 years in ICU and diploma and critical. Oh, that's Neil Many. Dr. Mini says 15 years of experience, and I think you need to pass part 1 exam at least with English, then you can get a job and get here, and you can then go in your critical care pathway. It will be much more easier to you without passing the AMC. I'm not sure if there are things holding you back doing exam. Part 1 exam, SJ. So part 1 exam, please keep eye on it like all the time when they open dates, because for this session, I think the examination, like the results will be on 9th of June. So that's the results date. So they are about to inform you the new date. So go to the site, keep an eye. So if you want to apply for the exam. So after getting general registration, you apply for, it's for UP. So you apply for the immigration. So you say that you did this and this, and you apply for PR. It's not an issue after getting PR to apply for general registration. MD says, finally, medical students, a degree from China. Again, the same story, sorry. MD, I think I told that if they specifically don't mention, you don't have to worry. Part 2 pass rate is 15 to 20%, right? So can we still pass? Okay, I'll tell you something like, there was some time ago, there was much more transparency about the exam. So we could see how many people passed online. But for some reason, they stopped doing that. So it was quite cloudy, the number of students or number of IMGs passed. I'm quite doubtful about that 15 to 20%. I'm not sure where you got the stats from. And usually the time I went for exam, it was like 1 to 4 people, 1 to maximum 5 people, or 0 people passed exam out of 40 a day. So imagine 1 to 5 or sometimes 0. So it could be 2, 3, 4, 5. So maybe maximum, I don't know, 6, but no one knows. But now we can't see it online how many people pass. Earlier we could see with the number like who passes AMC. Citem and KDU. No, you won't have an issue with that. I mean, sorry to say that, but where is your degree from? Like dual. Are they both recognized with the AMC? That you need to check Citem and KDU is recognized or not. If your final, like the take-home degree is from KDUs, check that which one like allows you. I'm quite not sure about that. I can check it up for you if you can email me. Like, or you can go to the AMC website and check it by yourself. I'm finally a medical student. China MD is the same. I think this, I don't know which one. Do we need to get internship certificate sealed from any organization in the issuing country to be accepted by AMC? Internship certificate is given by, I think, Sri Lankan Medical Council or, I forgot your background. Was it Belarus or Russia or China? Tianjin. So you need an internship certificate. It's not what they are looking for. APRA, you are not applying jobs with AMC. You are applying jobs with APRA, Australian Health Practitioner Regulation. So in that, they request you a good standing certificate. This is the one has to be sent from your university or your university to the APRA directly. So do you want me to say if any other questions, you can write to me on email.
Yeah. So what we can do, Shavi, so we are going to continue this AMC session. So that time also we can clarify their doubts. So or otherwise they can contact us. So we will do the necessary stuff. So of course, a good informative session, and we have given a lot of information. So sometimes they might overload it. So what we can do, I will give those videos through the YouTube link, so everybody can watch it again. So thank you, Savi, again to give.
No worries. I was a bit at the beginning.
Yeah, it's okay.
Like a start, sorry.
It's okay, no worries. So, and of course, I want to thank other colleagues who are joining from USA and UK, and the participants. So it's really, I think it's a really informative session. So we continue to do these sessions, some paper discussion and clinical session, and of course we will give ideas and help for their placement as well. Okay, so we are here for almost more than 3 hours. So thank you for your participation. So we see you soon. Best of luck.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.